TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Welcome to another edition of the RF Video Shoot Interview Series. It's more than a pleasure to be interviewing today a man that'll be in the wrestling business for 12 years this coming June, the Human Suplex Machine, Taz. Always the first obvious question is how you broke into the business.
I broke into the business. I wrestled in college and stuff and competed in judo. And my wrestling coach was a freestyle coach, and he had knew someone who knew a guy named Johnny Rods. Okay. And a lot of fans probably remember him. He knew him, and he said, "Hey, you're a hell of an amateur wrestler and a hell of a martial artist. You know, you should get into pro wrestling." So, like, when I was in college, I had a mohawk, and I looked like a pro wrestler. So, and I was like 275 pounds. I was big, you know. Wow. And so I went to Johnny. I met this guy, Johnny Rods, and I was a wrestling fan a little bit as a kid, but really not that much. And I figured, hey, I was a good wrestler as a shoot wrestler, so I figured I'm going to make a lot of money. It took a while, but so I met Johnny Rods, and then I got trained. You know, and it was a long road, about 9.5 months. Wow. In a small little dingy place in Brooklyn. He trains guys now at Gleason's gym, and it's nice and flamboyant and stuff, but I was, he only had like 2 students when I got trained. It was me and a guy named Biala the Giant who had died. A real heavy big guy. And then about 2 months after me, he trained Damien Demento. Okay. Used to wrestle as Mondo Clean before Damien Demento. But actually who started right with me was Big Dick Dudley. Really? He used to wrestle as Alexander the Great. Wow. And he wrestled... we wrestled together for about the first 3 years, and then he kind of went to jail for a while, and I kind of slowed up his career, and mine kept going. So, when he got out of jail, we were real tight. He used to call me all the time from jail and find out about the wrestling business and the struggles and whatnot. And I always told him if I ever can help you out, I'm gonna. And then one thing led to another. He got out of jail, and I was in with ECW pretty good, and I put the word in for him. And, political business. All right. I put the word in for him, and that's the way things go sometimes. So, but that's how I started, Johnny Rods.
Were the Headhunters and Tommy Dreamer in the school when you were there?
Tommy Dreamer started after me. The Headhunters came in to the Rods' dojo about a year and a half or so after me, I believe. Oh, okay. Dreamer came in. I had gotten some problems with Johnny. We didn't get along, and he stopped using me on his shows. After about 4 years, I think it was, or 3 years, I left Johnny's dojo, tried to get work on my own. And Tommy and Dreamer had started there. I didn't see Tommy start his training, but what happened was after he had gotten trained, I heard about him. I heard he was, a good wrestler and stuff like that, a good worker and all that. And Mondo Clean, Damien Demento, told me about him, and I spoke to him, and they needed I was wrestling for a guy in New England, and he needed an opponent for me. So I heard that this kid, Tommy Dreamer, was pretty good. So I called him up, and he knew who I was from Johnny. One thing led to another, and, I said, well, let's drive together. I get you booked on his show, we'll wrestle against each other and whatnot. Right. He goes, oh, all right, great. And he only had about 6 or 7 matches under his belt. And we drove together for 4 hours and stuff. And he figures, wow, he's bonding with a guy who's got time. And we got in the ring, and I kicked the shit out of him. He's a real pretty boy. He didn't look like he looks now. Great body, pretty boy. Came from a rich family and all that. And I was completely opposite. So I was jealous of him. And I whooped his ass. And, he couldn't believe it. And then he had so much heart, and anywhere I got booked, I said, I got my opponent, and then I wrestled Tommy a lot. I feel I helped him on the road, I helped him a lot. The deal was I'd get him booked, help him, teach him what he didn't learn on the road, and he drove. That was it. So, that's just the way it goes, and now, he's a big star. So, he's earned it, he's worked his ass off. So.
How did you come up with the Tasmaniac gimmick?
When I was in college, my nickname was Taz, because I was always shorter than everybody and stocky and dark complexion. So, just a nickname, it just stuck. And then when I got into the business, I came, like everybody, all different gimmicks and stuff like that. And I just figured, hey, I had the tattoo on my arm, and I figured, well, everybody used to call me Taz, and no one's doing it. So I said, and at the time when I started, gimmicks were in, like goofiness, the WWF flamboyancy, So I got some fur and face paint with like big teeth. I mean, I'm not proud of it, but I did what I had to do. And I couldn't call myself the Tasmanian Devil because of Warner Brothers.
Right.
So I I thought about it and came up with a Tasmaniac.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Didn't you have a partner, like a cousin or?
Yeah. My partner was the other Tasmaniac was my cousin. It's Chris Chetty's older brother. His name is Joe.
Oh, wow.
And he's probably the best pure wrestler I've ever wrestled in my life. Best pure judo, jiu-jitsu player I've ever competed against or trained with. I mean, there's nobody. I learned more from him than I did my own coaches. So he amazing. And everybody thought we were brothers, similar bodies and similar look and all that. And he's a couple of years older than me and stuff. And we wrestled together in college. We played football together in college. He grew up in Long Island and I grew up in the city. But, during the summer when we grew up in the city, it's like a big thing. My mother and father would drop me off in Long Island, stay there for 3 weeks, and I stayed with my cousin Joey.
Right. He
was like my big brother, I was little, I used to follow him around, And, so we were supposed to get broken into the wrestling business from actually Dr. D. David Schultz.
Oh, wow.
Together. And he went off and played in the NFL. He played for the Eagles, and he went to the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't want to get into pro wrestling. And we kind of got to an argument because, we had this whole gimmick thought up and everything.
Yeah.
We didn't get trained yet. And I couldn't afford to drive to Connecticut to David Schultz's place myself. So then that's when I ended up getting with Johnny Rods in Brooklyn, And, but Joe, he just didn't really like the business that much. And, he's a school teacher, he's a high school teacher. He teaches football, wrestling. Coaches football and wrestling and track and field, and he's also a health teacher. So, he's married, a child and stuff, owns a home. So he's a family man and stuff like that. But one day I'm gonna get him back involved.
Really?
He's happy that Chris is doing real well, and Chris worked hard, and like I kind of repaid Joe for what he's done for me over the years with Chris. I trained Chris, but Chris has it hard. Chris. Everybody thinks because he's my cousin has it easy, and it's actually harder for Chris.
Right.
I'm on his ass constantly. Constantly, So, that's who the other Tasmaniac was. Was my cousin. Yep.
How long into your wrestling career were you able to make it your full-time job?
Probably about 5.5 years.
Really?
It took a long time because. I didn't have the pure size these other guys had. And like when I was just starting in the business, it was about the crazy gimmick and monstrous muscles, the Ultimate Warrior guys, you know what I mean? And these 6'5" monsters, that wasn't me. Right. I was a wrestler. And at that time in the industry, it didn't really matter how good of a pure wrestler you were.
Right.
Your top guys were your gimmick musclehead guys,
Yeah.
So that just wasn't me. And the key thing too, I just didn't have that political connection. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, that's the bottom line. 99% of the time, especially in this business, in any business, is who you know, or who knows someone that you know. That's just the way it happens. I mean, it sucks, but it's a shoot, man. That's life.
Yeah.
So. Forgot the fucking question.
Just how about making it your full-time job?
Yeah. So it took so long. It just took forever. I started making good money when I worked for New Japan. I worked for New Japan quite a few tours. First, I started with Wing, and I made decent money with Wing. And then but I had jobs outside of pro wrestling. Like a lot of guys do when they start out, just other, from construction, working on railroads, and bouncing, all sorts of shit jobs.
Right.
And because I always wanted to make a living at this. Sure. When I first started, it wasn't like I thought it was going to be. I figured, man, I was, 99% of the time I'd wrestle a guy on a mat, I'd pin him,
Right.
And in judo tournaments, guys tapped out to me all the time. I've lost, don't get me wrong, but most of the times I've won. Right. I really thought the business was a straight up shoot. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know much about it. I was not really a big fan.
Yeah.
Growing up in New York, I liked Bruno Sammartino because he was Italian and I'm Italian, and that's all I really knew. I liked Bob Backlund because he was a hell of a wrestler.
Yeah.
But like anybody else, I really didn't
Yeah.
I didn't follow it, you know. So I mean, I got into it and I thought it was just straight up all the way.
Right.
But making it a full-time job was hard. I mean, working for New Japan, I was making good money, but it just wasn't enough to get me by. And I've saved a lot of money that I made when I first started.
Right.
And then Smoky Mountain, I started working for them, and I was doing pretty good with them. And then I got a tryout with WWF, one of my tryouts. And it was actually my second tryout, and Cornette told me that I was going to get a spot.
Yeah.
They were looking for someone to work against Owen Hart on all the house shows. And then Owen blew out his knee. So that kind of, nixed me. But I didn't get the spot. But then time was right, and Tony Romo told me about this ECW starting in Philadelphia. Eddie Gilbert and Paul Lee were booking. And I was like, oh, I know them. I know Paulie and stuff like that. He's like, we should come down, And I wasn't a type of guy to just go down and try and grovel to get on a show. That wasn't my thing,
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. And Paulie had booked for the Savoldis a while back for a short time, which was pretty funny. Anyway, it was hairy. And he had brought me into the Savoldis, and we had a mutual friend, and he brought me in and stuff. And I had a bad experience with the Savoldis before. I worked for them a lot.
Really?
And they had screwed me over and whatnot, and I didn't want to work for them no more. And Paulie said, listen, I'm the book now. I'm telling you, I'm going to do the right thing by them. I'm like, no, they're going to fuck me. They're going to fuck me. They're going to fuck me. He's like, I'm telling you, they're not going to fuck you. Well, he was right. I got there, and he did go to bat for me. He was the booker, and he did. And I he lasted about a week when I was there, but then they kept me. The Savoldis kept me on board, and they used me a lot. I mean, a lot of guys didn't like the Savoldis or work for them, but they paid me good. I worked for them for a couple of years, and they used me strong. I worked a lot, and I got paid pretty good. I wasn't making a full-time living, but I was making nice money, for a young guy. Sure. I lived in the basement of my parents' house, So then finally, like I said, I heard about, the ECW and stuff, and I went down and Paulie I put a call to Paul, and he had called me. He said, you should come down such and such a date. Were you going to ask this question later on?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Go ahead.
Is there a way to lower the radio just because I think the audio might interfere with this?
Yeah.
Is it cool?
I know, anyway, in our tape collection, we have one match with you from Memphis TV, and that was it.
Well, yeah. So you want to know about Memphis?
Yeah.
Me. Yeah, I liked it there. For the short time I was there, I did like it. I liked I liked being down south. I liked all the guys there, everything. Just, I liked it except for the money. Yeah. It was the shits. So, Lawler had, I spoke to Lawler, and he said, he wanted to use me really good. And he liked my goofy gimmick and all that crap. So I said, okay, cool. So I had saved money, and I flew myself to Nashville, I think it was. Then I just rented a car and drove there and into Memphis. And he told me what kind of money he was going to pay me over the phone. And he didn't lie. And I was like, ugh. And he said, but, come down here if you get over the right way and, you work the way I think you're going to work, I'll bump you up real fast. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't happen. And, the money, again, he didn't lie. When he said he was going to pay me, he paid me. And I couldn't afford to stay down there. I stood there. I worked house shows and stuff, not a lot of them.
Yeah.
I don't even know how long I was there, a week and a half, whatever it was. I made one TV, and I worked at the Mid-South Coliseum, which was cool. Yeah. I remember I worked against Reno Riggins.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever, and then that was it. I just couldn't afford it. There was no problem with me and Lawley, I just told him, I said, I can't afford it. He was, I can't afford to give you more right now. You're not a draw. I said, no, I understand. Yeah. I had no problem. I just didn't have the money. I didn't have the savings. I didn't bring enough money with me because I didn't have enough money.
Right.
So it didn't work. That was it.
What would you say was your first big break in your wrestling career?
Big break as far as money, or
as far as just maybe you said to yourself, wow, whether it was money or whether it was a match, whether it was getting a full-time job promotion.
The first time I ever really popped when I got a phone call was when Brad Rangus called me up to go to New Japan. That was heavy, that was awesome. That was the most money I made when I was working for them guys, I was sick. I couldn't believe the money I was making, I was like, man, it finally started to pay off. But I was trying to get a full-time contract with them. But the problem with me there was I was the height of the juniors, but the weight of the heavyweights. So they wanted to put me with the Benoits and stuff, and Malenko was there, and Guerrero, and Brad Armstrong and stuff like that. But I was too short to go against Saitos and the what's his name, Choshus and those guys, and the Scott Nortons and Tony Holm was working there when I was there. So I was stuck in the middle. They used me a lot. Yeah. One night I worked with a heavyweight. One night I'd work with a junior. Didn't matter. But it just, maybe that was the reason why I didn't get a contract. Maybe they thought I sucked. I don't know what it was.
Right.
But that was one of my big breaks. Also, I believe Smoky Mountain helped me. I didn't spend tons of time there, but the time I did, I learned a lot. Kevin Sullivan throughout my career really helped me a lot. Right. I met Kevin years ago with the Savoldis in the Bahamas, and then in Smoky Mountain in Japan for Wing. Kevin really helped me in ECW, obviously. I learned a lot from him.
Right.
Just meeting Kevin Sullivan was a big break. Just knowing Kevin, really, he kind of took me under his wing. My major big break was when Paulie called me to wrestle this guy named Sabu on October 1st of '93 in Philadelphia. Yeah. He said, I can't guarantee you a spot, but I guarantee you 2 matches. I need you to wrestle this guy Sabu, and I know you can get him over to where I need. I can't guarantee any more after that. We'll see what happens. If Crockett and me like your work, we'll do something. This was after Eddie Gilbert left.
Right.
I'm like, all right. And that was it. The rest is history. That was it.
Yeah.
That was my big break. My real big break was that.
What are your memories of your infamous match with Gypsy Joe? Which we have on tape, which we're going to put in this interview.
Oh, great. It was sick, man. I get to Japan and first of all, I love Gypsy Joe. And I haven't spoken to him in so long. I love the guy. He's a great guy. Misconceptions. I'm sitting in the airport in Tokyo. I'm exhausted. First time in Japan. I'm like, ugh, what just happened? I just went through this 15-hour flight, And here comes Kevin Sullivan, and he's just like you just got off the beach, he's all happy, and I'm like, oh, and he's ribbing me and fucking with me, And we're waiting in Japan, like you wait for all the other guys to show up, and then like the guy from the office, the Japanese guy will take you, boom, you go to the hotel. And everybody gathers up the same day. You gotta wait sometimes. And then I see this old guy, and he's walking with Peter Miller, the Mongolian Mauler.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Nuts. And because they were from Tennessee, and I see this old guy, like an Indian, like an American Indian. Yeah. I said to Kevin, "Who's that guy?" Kevin's it's just some mock, probably. So it's Kevin. He's fucking like, oh, really? I believed him. Yeah. So he introduces me. I meet the guy Peter Miller, Mongolian Mauler, and he introduced me. Hey, this is Gypsy Joe. What do you call it? So then, where were we?
Gypsy Joe, you met him. You said he told you.
Yeah. He said he introduced me. I believe it was Mongolian Mauler introduced me to Gypsy Joe, and he goes, "This is Gypsy Joe," and I just figured it was like a goofy nickname. Fan, Yeah. The old guy's like, "Nice to meet you." I'm like, "How you doing?" So he's telling some story while we're eating. That he just got shot in some bar in Nashville or whatever the hell it was. I'm like, I'm listening. I'm not saying nothing. Yeah. This guy's fucked up. He's got scars still and these staples and shit. So we get the first night off. The next night we're in Korakuen Hall in Tokyo. So I look on the lineup, right? It's half in Japanese, half in English. Taz versus Gypsy Joe. What the fuck? I thought it was, someone's ribbing me. Yeah. Hey, Kevin, what's this? I guess you're going to wrestle that guy. I didn't know he wrestled. Ripping me. Yeah. So I go up to Gypsy Joe. I go, I didn't say I didn't know you was a wrestler,
Right.
And obviously I knew he was an old timer. I seen his head and shit, and I figured it out. It took me a while. Yeah. So he's telling me, take it easy out there. We're going to go out there. We're going to work hard, but, and do what you can do, and I'll do what I can do, and have a good match. Yeah. I'm like, all right. And all the guys are telling me, man, you're going to break this guy in half. You're going to hurt this guy. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I get in there, and I figure, we're trying to be professional with this. He's an older man, I respect him, Well, I was wrong. He hit me with a chop, or I forget the first thing he did to me. I could not believe it. Chop after chop, and like getting hit with a baseball bat. It just caught me off guard. Yeah. And I hit him with a chair, and he just fucking I cracked him because I got pissed.
Yeah.
I hit him with a chair hard, and he just looked at the chair and started hitting himself with the fucking chair. He's like, hit me again. I'm like, all right, fucking pow.
Yeah.
It didn't faze him.
Yeah.
That was my memories of Gypsy. He was, I was shocked. I just thought he was just going to be some broken up man, and I was way, way off. You know, Gypsy Joe is by far the toughest pure toughest guy I've ever faced.
Really?
And I respect the hell out of him. I've wrestled him a couple of times after that in Japan. Okay. We had good matches. Everything was cool, you know. Yeah. And I got a lot of respect for Gypsy Joe. I mean, he's really cool. He's a really good guy.
What were your initial impressions of Smoky Mountain and Jim Cornette?
I liked it. I thought it was cool. I knew it was an company that was coming up, you know, and they were drawing good houses, you know. Growing up in New York, I never seen much Southern wrestling, you know, Memphis and crap like that, and Florida champs. I never seen it, you know. And I heard about it, and then I'd seen tapes once I was trained and in the business, and it looked cool, you know. It's like what you hear wrestling's supposed to be, you know. Yeah. And I was excited to go down there. When I went down there, I liked it. I got along really good with Cornette. Yeah. Nothing sour to say about Jimmy at all. You know, he paid me good, used me good. You know, everything was cool. Yeah. Everybody there was real cool. You know, I made a lot of friends there, like guys like Tom Pritchard and Dirty White Boy. You know, I mean, they helped me out. You know, showed me around, and it was cool. I liked it. It's a shame that they're out of business. You know, I mean, I knew it was gonna happen once I seen Jimmy go with Vince, but it's a shit that happened. But it was a hell of a company. It's a shame because I feel that ECW and Smoky Mountain could have been one hell of a nip and tuck rival, you know. But I think ECW definitely surpassed what Smoky Mountain was. You know? So, you know.
Whose idea was it to put you with Kevin Sullivan? No.
Kevin Sullivan needed somebody to work. So, no, like Kevin, I believe it was Kevin Sullivan's idea. It was either him or Cornette, but I think it was Kevin's. Yeah. Seemed like anywhere I went, I usually tag with Kevin. So, you know, and it seemed like I'm in there, you know, wrestling and bumping and doing everything I gotta do. And every time I go to tag Kevin, he's looking at some, you know, chick in the front row, his boots untied, you know, and he's a veteran. You know, that's cool, you know. But Kevin, you know, I miss Kevin. I miss talking to Kevin. I mean, it's hard now. I can't even talk to him, you know, because he's in the office there, and you know how shit goes. You know, rumors. You know, if I just call and say, "Hey, Kev, Merry Christmas," Taz, you know, Taz going to WCW. I mean, you know, it's the way shit goes, unfortunately. But I miss Kevin. I mean, I learned a lot from Kevin. You know, I mean, I really did. You know, he really did.
Did you ever have the opportunity to wrestle him?
Oh yeah, I wrestled him that. Where was it? Jim Thorpe. Was it Jim Thorpe? I think it was Jim Thorpe.
We have it.
Yeah, you guys should have it. It was. I think it was Jim Thorpe. Yeah. Yeah, I remember it. And I wrestled against him once, and that was in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Wow. I don't even think there was a finish to the match. I think it was like just a wild brawl, you know. It was right after we had broke the team up and shit like that. Oh, okay. So, you know, it was cool.
Wow. Was it a major culture shock working so many dates with Smoky Mountain?
Yeah, oh yeah. Big time. I mean, it was a different world, you know. Yeah. But, you know, I adjusted quick. Some of the towns that used to run them were real big time redneck towns. I mean, like heavy duty hillbillies. Yeah. So I would go into a convenience store or something like that, and I would just be careful not to really talk. Yeah. My accent would give me away, and they, you know, not only were they against the Yankee, but they were racist. So they didn't know if I was black, Puerto Rican, Hawaiian, Italian. They didn't know what the fuck I was, you know. I mean, you know, people here don't know what I am. So, you know, I can imagine what these hillbillies thought, you know. So, you know, that was the only thing. I wasn't scared or nothing. It's just that I didn't want, you know, to order something to eat and guys fucking pissing in my shit. Yeah. Know? So, yeah, but it was a big time culture shock. It was different, you know. Even the boys, you know, all the wrestlers and stuff. It was just you know, from the accent to the way they were so much slower. Everything was slow. I don't mean wrestling. Right. I mean just in general. You know, I mean, you're gonna meet a guy to go to the gym at 11 in the morning, and he's like strolling out of the hotel room at like 11:40. You know, like, and I'm like, I want to say, where the fuck were you? But like, you gotta slow down. You know, that's just the way they are down there. Everybody, you know, especially the boys, they're just tired. So.
Yeah. How did your Titan trials go? I know you did one at the Manhattan Center at Raw.
That wasn't a tryout. What are you talking about? With ECW?
No, with WWF.
Yeah, but
didn't you wrestle at the Manhattan Center like way back when, as a tryout when you were like after Smokey or like during Smokey?
No.
Like even before you were talking about your Titan trials.
I can tell you all the Titan tryouts and where they were.
Oh, okay.
No, the first one was years ago.
Yeah.
Me and Ray Odyssey wrestled each other, and they were going to hire the match because me and Ray Odyssey had a rival in IWCCW, Savoli's. They were junior heavyweights. They were looking for junior heavyweights to open up the shows on all the Northeastern house shows. So they're going to hire us. Rochester, New York, at the War Memorial. I wrestled Ray before WWF dark match. I'll never forget it because we had to follow Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior together doing a promo. And this is when they were on fire. I mean, the people were like, yeah, going nuts. I mean, like crazy nuts. And then Ray walks out and I walk out and they're like, people are like, 16,000 people. Like, who the fuck are these guys? I mean, they were just like, ugh. Once we got in the ring, though, we just started doing our shit. They were like, they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because the boys didn't work the way they work today. Yeah. We were doing like Japanese high spots, boom, 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 all sorts of spots. I mean, and I used to be able to fly a little bit, And Ray was good with all that goofy shit, and the people came up, man, they couldn't believe it, And I remember he beat me with a schoolboy, and the place exploded. We had an 8-minute match, and the place went nuts. And as soon as we came to the back, all the agents came over us, and we were going to get the deal done, but they had to talk to Savoldi. So once we heard that, we knew we were
yeah.
So that was my first tryout. Now, what year that was? I don't know, 90, 89, I don't know.
Maybe 91.
Maybe 90, 91.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 90.
That's when Hogan and Warrior were like.
Yeah, around that time,
Yeah.
Then I had another tryout for WWF. Oh, man. This was after Smoky Mountain. Right during Smoky Mountain. And it was 3 of them. It was 2 of them. Worcester, Massachusetts, and I think Bangor, Maine.
Okay.
So it wasn't at the Manhattan Center.
Oh, okay.
I only wrestled at the Manhattan Center twice, and that was for when Paulie did that thing, whatever the hell it was called.
The thing with BWO was on, and the WNN.
No, WNN, right. That, and then the thing we did with Raw.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm wrong then.
I don't think that's the only times I've wrestled in that building.
Yeah.
And so those were the 2 tryout times that I had with WWF. Did I have another tryout with Yeah, I did have another tryout with WWF. That's right, on house shows, like maybe 8-9 months after the ones from Worcester and Bangor in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and stuff like that, and another town in another town in Jersey against Jimmy Powers.
Okay. And
in Atlantic City, the one I was going to get the spot again to work with Owen Hart.
Yeah.
But this time, not as just some kid putting Owen over, like heat, feud, whatever. And I remember I completely leveled Jimmy Powers with clothes on. He busted his mouth open.
Yeah.
And at the time there, I remember Raven was working for him. It's Johnny Polo.
Yeah.
And I had known him for years, and Jimmy was bleeding bad, and Scotty was like, Raven was like, oh, that's not going to be good for you getting a spot, Taz. I go, no, I know. And the agents were like, why'd you hit him so hard? I'm like, excuse me? Jimmy wasn't bitching about it. He really wasn't. Powers wasn't complaining at all. Shit happens. Yeah. Physical business. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the agents were just like, shit. So I know it was fucked. And that was that. So that was the other tryouts.
Wow. What led to you leaving Smoky Mountain?
I thought that after I had the tryout in Bangor, I think it was Bangor, thought I was getting a spot. Jimmy had told me, Taz, we're not going to invest any more time in you because, you're going to be working for Vince. He's going to be using you. That's when I believe Owen blew his knee out or somewhere around that time. Because I know Savage was still working there. Steiner's just started there. So I don't know what year it was.
Probably 92.
Yeah, around there. Yeah, 93. And that's when, 92. Yeah. And that's when Jimmy said to me, Cornette said, he goes, I'm not going to invest more time. And I was like, no, I understand. Cool. I'd rather work for Vince than Smokey, So, I wasn't bitching. He wasn't bitching, I did business the right way, left the right way, and everything was cool. But I never got the spot.
Yeah.
So that's it.
We're going to the initial impressions of ECW. And I would say Paulie, but you said you already had dealings with Paulie in the past.
Yeah, but Paulie was different, in ECW, But same but different. A little different, I should say. My feelings in ECW was... it was cool. It had room to grow. But you understand, you guys know this, a lot of fans might not. ECW was not the way it is now then.
Right.
It was violent, but not like it was. I really truly believe, not to sound egotistical, that Sabu and I started a lot of this shit. There ain't no doubt in my mind that Sabu started the table thing, first of all. He is the originator of that. Because I know in our match on that October 1st in 93 in Philly, he, you know.
That was the first show that I attended, and I know I was
you
whoa.
remember the match.
Yeah,
So, it was
the
sick.
first time I was ever at ECW, and I was like, whoa.
You know, they did some wild stuff, like the headhunters went through a wall and shit like that, and they did the scaffold thing. Before me and Sabu did that. But Sabu and I, we started the shit. No, we started it. So I can't say that ECW was like, oh my God, it was crazy, and guys were going nuts, and chairs, and violence, and blood, because it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
It started there. But I just thought, you know, good crew of guys, good crew of young guys, good crew of real good veterans who weren't over the hill yet, and Paulie and Jim Crockett. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I'm like, shit, this is the place to be. Yeah. And they paid me pretty good when I first started there. So I was like, oh, this is all right. So my impressions were good. Yeah. I will admit, in the very, very beginning, I, you know, like a lot of guys used it then, and some guys unfortunately use it now, which they're assholes about it. Right. I figured it's a good stepping stone. Yeah. To either get the full-time gig in Japan or Atlanta or Vince. You know, that's what I figured. Right. You know? But then as time went on, you know, I could see it. I could see it growing. I could see the money growing. I could see the houses growing. You know, the company's only 5 years old. Yeah. That's young.
Yeah, you know? It's still a baby. Bro.
Yeah, big time. So my impressions were good.
Did you think it would go to where it is now when you first came in?
Yeah, I did. Not this fast. Yeah. We've been hearing about pay-per-views since '95, you know, with Paul, you know, because it was, you know, we were trying, Paul was trying, but it just wasn't working. It just shit wasn't happening. And I figured, you know, around year 2000, we'd get our first pay-per-view. I mean, who knew, you know, April 13th, 1997 would be the first pay-per-view. I mean, I knew it would be like it is, but not this fast. I figured it out around the 8-9 year old mark. It would, not 5 years old. Wow. Not 4 years old even. Yeah. April 13, 97 was 4 years. So it's scary to some of the guys that have been in ECW from the beginning, like Dreamer and Sandman and myself, how fast the growth has been there. It gets you worried. Yeah. You know, but Paul, you know, he's good. He keeps everything in line, you know. He's a hard guy to work for, but yet a real good guy to work for. Yeah. So I can't complain.
How do you get along with him?
50-50, sometimes real good. I used to get, when the company wasn't as big as it is now, and the money wasn't the way it is now, and the pay-per-views and the exposure and the houses, we got along great. Everything was cool. Yeah. You know, I mean, but you know, I get along with Paul. I trust Paul. He trusts me. You know, we've had our problems big time, you know, business-wise and shit. Right. And all in all, I mean, I don't have to kiss ass. I wouldn't want another boss. Right. You know, I mean, he ain't perfect, trust me. Right. But, I mean, he has his flaws like any other boss, and I'm sure I have my flaws like any other employer. But I don't think he is, I know he's not vicious in the sense of, you know, I mean, I was out with a broken neck for 7.5, 8 months, and I was paid. Yeah. So, I mean, there ain't much more need to be said. Right. Paid every week. Paid. Yeah. So, how can I bitch? Yeah. You know?
What are your memories of your feud with Benoit Malenko?
Good. Real good. I mean, I knew Chris and Dean for a long time. I wrestled them both in Japan many times and tagged with them and shit. But, you mean as far as feuding, like me and Sabu against them, or single?
You know, both. You know.
I liked it. I mean, I liked wrestling Dean and Chris. I mean, what's to say? They're tremendous wrestlers. You know, no doubt. You know, by far two of the best, you know, workers in the industry, no doubt. Right. And somehow times when you work with guys, they're as good as guys like that. Brings out more in you. You know. So I mean, I wish they were still working here. You know, I mean, I have good memories of it. I mean, good, tight, physical, good wrestling matches. You know? Right. People definitely got their money's worth, I think. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was cool.
Wow. What was your take anyway on what happened tonight in the three-way dance?
Not much. I mean, just, you know, Sabu, New Japan, you know. At the time, we were both tagging. Well, we were working for New Japan for the outside group, Ishingun. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize it, but he had the offer to go to Japan on that date, but they just gave me the offer too. Yeah. So that was part of the problem that got Sabu in so much trouble because I turned it down. And like when Sabu got the call, he called me up. He said, "Did they call you?" I said, "Yeah." Because we got that big three-way match. I go, "Yeah, I know." I said, "That's why I told him no." He goes, "You told him no?" I'm like, "Yeah, I ain't going." He goes, "Oh man, they're gonna be fucking pissed. They're not gonna use you." Blah blah blah. I said, "Listen, this is my bread and butter. Paul's done the right thing for you and me. You can't go get this big three-way match. Paul's been pushing the shit out of it." He's like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "Sabu, you can't do that." And he wasn't definite that he was going to go to Japan.
Right.
It's like, "I need the money." I'm like, "I need the money too. I mean, we're making money here, And he was making at the time he was making more than me here,
right?
And I knew what I was making. I had an idea what he was making, so he shouldn't have been complaining,
Yeah.
But he wanted to make as much as he could, I guess he figured he would go to Japan and he would still have his spot in ECW. And Paul told him and told me to tell him, "If you go, that's it. I'm going to fire you publicly." And I told Sabu, I said, "Man, he told you that and he's going to do it." He goes, "Nah, I don't think he'll go that far." And we really didn't know, I really didn't know if Sabu was going to be in Philly that night or not. I mean, it was up in the air. He didn't give me a straight out answer. And I don't think he gave Paul a straight out answer.
Yeah.
So as a backup plan, Paul said, "We need to bring someone in." And he asked me because I was a major part of the match. And I suggested Rick Steiner because I knew they weren't doing nothing. And I thought people would think, "Wow, Taz and Steiner would be pretty cool, and suplexes and all that goofy shit."
Yeah.
So I had the old gimmick at the time, so it would be all right. And Paul had known Rick. I met him in Japan. I really didn't know him that good. And one thing led to another, and boom, we got Rick Steiner. But, that night was weird. Paul waited, so let's wait till 6:30. If he doesn't show up, I got to fire him publicly. I'm like, "You're not going to do that. You can't do that. Don't do that." It's no, I got to do what I got to do. I told him I'd do that, and he fucked up, and I got to do it. He did it. I still can't believe it, man. It was heavy. It was a heavy fucking deal, man. So, but it all worked. All in all, it worked out good.
Yeah. What led to you dropping the Tasmaniac gimmick and going to Taz?
I just, the more and more you looked in the crowd, the more older the fans were.
Yeah.
And I just felt I was embarrassed. I couldn't, who was I kidding? The Tasmaniac gimmick held me back. The wrestler that I wanted to be, the guy I wanted to be, the guy I was, I couldn't be.
Yeah.
So, I just told Paul, I said, "Listen, this is when Sabu had laughed, and I just right before I hurt my neck, and I said, I want to get out of this goofy gimmick."
Yeah.
He's like, "I agree, let's do it." And just, it was the fans. I just knew it,
Yeah.
It wasn't that, the people were into me, I'm getting in the ring and they're chanting, "Kill, kill, kill."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What's that?" Kill, kill. I can get violent, trust me, but I'm kill. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So it's just too much.
Yeah. What happened? Here's a good one. I don't even know if you remember this, but what happened with you and Green Day down in Florida?
Oh, Green Day almost got their fucking asses kicked. Tommy Dreamer and I was. How'd you know about this? It's pretty funny.
Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Dreamer and I was sitting in the lobby. It was late. It was Tampa. And we were in a hotel. I forget what hotel, Days Inn or whatever. And we used to room together, Tommy and I. And we couldn't sleep, whatever. I was late. I forget what happened. We were just hanging out in the lobby. It was quiet. We're just chilling, talking, sitting on the couch, just hanging out. And then the girl who was working behind the desk was like this young girl, like 16, She was like walking out, all wrestlers and all that shit. So all of a sudden, this van pulls up, this minivan, like a Rent-A-Van,
Yeah.
These guys get out, kids,
Yeah.
I'm dressed shitty, beer, cursing loud. And I'm so laughing, like, what are you fucking got this shot, And this older guy with him. And Tom was like, "That one guy looks familiar. I don't know why I know that one guy, the singer, whatever his fucking name is." And I think he had green hair at the time or something, or blue hair, whatever. I don't know if you ever had
I think green
hair. And look at that little fucker, And they go to the desk, and they're talking and they get talking with the girl. They start cussing this girl out. "Where's our room? Do you know who the fuck we are? Blah 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 blah." Yeah. So I'm saying to Tommy, "Who are these fucking guys?" She's like, "I don't know." Tommy's like dead,
Yeah.
She's like, "Just Tommy, you know how he is. He's just always." Like Jim Morrison attitude, And so now if I see someone is getting aggressive. I'm like a dog, I get aggressive. I want to get involved. I got to put my 2 cents in. And they just start cursing at the girl. I mean, and the girl seen them and popped. She knew right away who they were, you know. And they just dissed her big time, And I just got pissed. I just stood up and said, "Why don't you watch your fucking mouth?" And I'm cursing too, But I'm pissed. Like, why don't you watch your mouth? The girl said, they don't have rooms for you. Maybe you're in the wrong hotel. Yeah. So the kid with the green hair, the little guy, he says to me, "Maybe you should mind your fucking business." I said, "So maybe I should put my foot right up your fucking ass." And I got up in his face, and he's like, he backed up, and then Tommy got up, and I just see Tommy, he was huge at the time, and we almost fought him. And then it just ended up being like, then their manager was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys." And, we were worried because the Seminole police there, they have their own, like the Indian reservation, they'll just lock you up for anything. So Tommy was like, chill out, let's chill out. And I think they might have came and just calmed things down. Yeah. That was it. It was funny.
Yeah. So what happened the night of the
wait. And then I found out, Tommy's like, who do you... He goes like, "God, familiar, whatever." And then like the next day, we're in the room, get ready. And TV news. Well, it wasn't on the news, but they were talking about Green Day. I'm like, that's the fucking guy, And then we knew it was them. And I liked one of their songs. That's the shit that pissed me off. So whatever, that was it.
So what exactly happened on the night of your neck injury? How did you injure your neck in Florida?
It was in Fort Lauderdale. It was a spike pile driver. It was Eddie Guerrero and myself versus Scorpio and Dean Malenko. And we had wrestled the match quite a few times, and it was always a good wrestling match and shit. And Scorpio, one time or another in the match, he'd always hit me with this big old power bomb, And people would really be into it. Scorp's a strong dude. Look it, but he's very strong. So he picks me up for the power bomb, so I thought, but yet it was a pile driver. Right. And then I see Malenko jumping off, and I've taken spiked pile drivers many times in my career, just that when you set your body a certain way, you have no choice but to go, but yet it's a different move coming. Right. You're fucked. Because if there's that little second of hesitation, the fans will never understand how much you're in danger. Right. And I knew before we even hit the mat that I was fucked. Really? Because I was not prepared to take a spiked pile driver. Yeah. I fucked up. And they did their job, and I just landed right on my head. I knew it, everything went numb. I just couldn't move. And, they brought me to the hospital and, then I was out. I herniated discs, popped ligaments, hairline crack and C5 in my upper. Wow. So it's still, I have a twitch and it still hurts, when I train and shit. Yeah, it doesn't hurt when I wrestle, but it hurts. It just hurts when I work out.
Is it similar to the Steve Austin injury?
Very. I don't know the extent of his injury, but he landed very much like I landed, and he acted very much like I acted. Like his legs were shot. That's how I was, man. I lost feeling, and then it came back, but I couldn't lift up this pen. Yeah. I could grab it and drop it. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't lift it up. You can't explain it. I mean, Austin can explain it to you. Your whole career, your whole life, you're used to being so strong, people kind of be intimidated and just, you lift tons of weights and throw people around a ring. Yeah. And you can't even walk. Yeah. You didn't get hit in your legs. It freaks you out how much that spinal cord and all those nerves do for your body. Right. So I think it was similar to Austin. How long was Austin out?
He was out maybe 4 months or so, maybe 4.5 months.
So I don't know. Because, again, the thing that held me back wasn't even so much the cracked C5. It was the herniated disc, which, that just into my trap here, just forget it. Wow. So it was similar to Austin's, I guess,
How tough was it sitting out those months, especially?
Hell, I just got married. I just got back from my honeymoon like a week before that happened, Right. So, just being married was new and hard, right? Yeah. And then just being hurt, just being sitting home. And I tried to go to most of the matches, but just watching the guys. And, I had to be honest, and I'm saying this on camera, but I've never said it, but the hardest thing was not only watching the guys get ready for a match, watching the people, and watching the guys wrestle, but watching the guys, take a bump. Yeah. my body felt so weak and in pain always for months. Yeah. And my body just shriveled to nothing that I really felt like, and the doctors were saying I wouldn't be able to do that again, be able to fall on that mat again. And if I can't do that, my career's over.
Right.
And I really believed, I didn't tell no one that. I didn't admit to it. It was the first time I'm actually admitting it.
Right.
But I really, I would cringe.
Really?
I'd watch a guy take a vertical suplex and say to myself, fuck, am I going to do this again? How am I going to go in there and do this?
Yeah.
But I did it. You know, I mean, I had to. You know? Not because it's my job and all that hokey shit. It's because I had to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I come over, you know, my whole life shit was hard for me. This was just a major, major hard thing. Worst thing that ever happened to me was this neck injury. Right. You know, mentally, physically, the whole deal, and emotionally. I was shocked. I'd cry. You know, I'd sit home and cry. Yeah. You know, my wife would just be like, poor girl. She's like, God, he's got married this nut job. You know, this guy's fucking crazy. I would just cry. There was a point where I started feeling sorry for myself, but you know, then I stopped. Yeah. You know, she was good. She stopped me from feeling sorry for myself, but it happens. I mean, it's, you know, you always hear about athletes. Oh, injuries are so hard to deal with and overcome. It's no hype. It's no bullshit, man. It's the truth. Right. It's so hard. Wow. It's hard. And that was sick hard. Yeah. So.
Wow. Was there any pressure on you to come back early?
No, it was awesome. I mean, it was great. Paul was awesome. I mean, actually, the guys, you know, I still joke about it. They were all like, take your time. Because, you know, you're in that spot. They're here. You go here. Yeah, you know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some of them were sincere. Maybe some of them weren't. Whatever, you know. But Paul was great. I mean, you know, if the boss is telling you take your time and he's still paying you, I'm cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I couldn't even rush back. I just couldn't. I was fucked, you know. But, you know, the company was supportive all the way.
It looked like you were in major pain when you did a couple things with Jason, even when you would just throw a punch at him. It looked like you were about to pass out.
Man. And then I'm trying to hide the pain. I don't want the people to see it. Yeah. That night with Jason, I don't remember the date. Right. I forgot who. I'll tell you who. This kid, Andy Weinberg. You guys know Andy. Yes. Okay, I don't know if the fans know Andy, but he's a guy who helps out and stuff in the locker room and stuff. He's from Maryland, from Baltimore. And he drove me back to the hotel. I couldn't shower. I couldn't do nothing. And he drove me. I was at the Marriott in Philly. I couldn't press the fucking button for my floor in a hotel. Here's this kid, Andy, and you know how small he is. Yeah. He's trying to carry me in my bag. Like, walk with me in my bags. I was in so much pain, you know, and I laid in that bed. And, you know, he wanted to hang out and help me. I said, no, leave. I'm cool. Just get me ice. Yeah. Brought me a bunch of ice, and I iced my neck, and I had him buy me a bottle of Tylenol. I just kept taking them, you know. And I just laid there all night in pain. And then the ice just brought the inflammation down, and then I was able to go home, and I was fine. The next day, it was weird. It was like I just rushed back. Yeah. And what I did was, I forget the medical term my doctor told me, but like I just shocked all my vertebrae in my neck and my nerve endings and whatnot, and it freaked me out. But I was shot after that match with Jason, that thing we did. What was it, the Eliminators? I
think it was the Eliminators and you wound up in the corner or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I was fucked. Yeah. That hurt. And I was healing, you know, I was healing good. You know, I was out quite a few months. Yeah. It just reacted. My neck just... You know, it felt like someone just took these big syringes and just injected concrete into my neck. Wow. Woof. That's the blood, you know, and the flames, you know. My neck was like, I couldn't even move. Wow. It really sucked a lot. So, yeah.
Whose idea was it at the November to Remember to turn the heel and that whole thing?
Well, it was Paul's. Yeah. You know, that was Paul's. Okay, it was Paul's, but I gave him the idea without even knowing. Because everything I said, I meant, and I would say to him in the back. Yeah. You know, not screaming and yelling, of course, wearing a referee shirt. But, you know, I was very adamant to the fact that no one, I really didn't get one letter. The office didn't get not one fucking piece of mail. Wow. Hey, get well. Yeah. And it'd be cool if the company didn't exploit my injury, but they did. They gave the fans a chance. Now I'm supposed to be a good guy, you know, babyface. Well, I guess I wasn't. Nobody gave a shit about me, you know. Guess I really wasn't over. But, you know, and I was pissed about it. I was like, you know, fans, man, these fucking people don't give a shit. Yeah. They don't care about me none. You know, the only guys who called me was about 5 of the guys. 5 of the guys. About 5 of the guys. That was about it.
Right.
You know, I mean, only a couple of my family members. I mean, that's one of the little reasons why I'm such a bitter guy. You know, it really is. I mean, that just you know, it was fucked.
It's something you never forget.
Damn right, and I still don't forget it. I mean, fans, they, you know, like I said, not one fan, not one letter, not one card, not one phone call, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. You know, and I never forgot that. And I guess Paulie heard me saying this to him, you know, and I didn't say it once, you know. I mean, I would say it to him, this is fucked up, it's bullshit. I didn't say, hey, let's market this. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But he's very good at, you know,
yeah,
bringing reality into the industry, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why I look so compassionate when I was cutting that promo, because I meant every word I said.
Yeah.
You know, and if that bothers any fans out there now that I'm saying that, life's a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
You know, you can boo me, you can cheer me, I really don't care. You know, they're going to pay to see ECW. I'm in ECW. They might not pay to see me, they might pay to see me.
Right.
As long as you pay, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get your money's worth, you know. Everybody who's been ECW knows that. You guys are always there, so you know that.
Absolutely.
You know, so, I mean, I'm not plugging ECW, but like I can't forget that.
Yeah.
I cannot forget that.
I guess it was probably pretty emotional, the interview itself.
Yeah.
Getting everything off your chest.
Big time.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have to practice or nothing. I just sat in the back. I knew my spot to come out, and I just started cutting the promo, man.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Wow. Were you for the idea of being put with Bill Alfonso?
Yeah, it was cool because I knew Fonzie had a lot of years under his belt in the industry. Number one.
Yeah.
And I respect that. Anybody who's been in this business 17 years, you got to respect.
Yeah.
It's a tough business. And
right.
Fonzie was in the heyday of the business down there in Florida and stuff, and I knew I could learn. And here I am. I had like 9 years in the business when this happened, and I was looking to learn. I'm always looking to learn, you know. And I was looking to learn from Fonzie. Also, Fonzie, man, I mean, the people hated him.
Yeah.
God, I'm like, who if you're a heel, who wouldn't want to be managed by Bill Alfonso at that time?
Right.
God, I mean, it's perfect. You know, and he's such a scrawny, skinny guy, you know, and I train all the time, and he's like going to massage parlor, you know. I mean, it's pretty cool, you know, it's pretty different, you know, and it was, you know, like the whistle thing, that was either Paul or Fonzie's idea.
Really?
That wasn't my idea, you know, but the whistle, you know, everybody used to say, man, how do you go to the ring, listen to that whistle during your match? You know, the truth of the matter is I never heard it.
Really?
I would watch TV, see the tape, and hear it. I couldn't believe it. I was very focused on my matches. I still am. So I really didn't pay no mind to the whistle. I really didn't hear it.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I didn't hear it. You know.
Were you nervous about doing promos the first time? A couple times you did?
Yeah, I sucked at them in the beginning. But, you know, I mean, yeah, I was very nervous. For years, I didn't talk. You know, I was a character that didn't speak. But, yeah, I was nervous. But I had good coaches, you know. I mean, you know, Paul was a great coach. I mean, guy does nothing but talk good, you know.
Right.
And Terry Funk at the time worked for the company, and Terry would pull me aside and talk to me and teach me a lot about it. And I would, you know, talk to Kevin Sullivan on the phone about stuff, and he used to watch the show and shit and get criticized stuff I'd said or didn't say, and the way I said it. And just, you know, I used to practice in the mirror, you know. That's, you know, Paul gave me that advice. You just practice talking in the mirror. And it worked, you know. I mean, it worked, and I tell any of my students that now.
Yeah,
it's a good way to practice. You look like an asshole, but I mean, it's a good way to learn. You know?
Practice.
Yeah.
I know as many inside the ring battles you had. I know you had a couple outside with 911.
Yeah. We were. The one was in Florida. I think it was Orlando. And I was, you know, I'm not one to go out and stuff to you know, clubs and bars and restaurants with the guys. I'm a loner. It's not a gimmick. I stay to myself. Anybody who knows me, you guys know me, knows to shoot. Yeah. So every once in a while, you know, rare time, I'll go out with the guys. No problem. Very rare. I can't tell you the last time I did. But this one time was in Florida, and the whole company, I think we had some really good success on Sunshine Network. So I think we went like to an Outback Steakhouse or something, and they had a big back room, private, just for all the guys. So it was a bunch of us there, you know. Paulie was there, Dreamer, Public Enemy, 911, Benoit, myself, and, Sabu. I mean, it was just most of the whole company. The guys were drinking a little bit here and there, and I don't drink, so I'm boring. So I was just sitting there waiting for the food. The girl's taking, the waitress is taking orders, and I could just see it. 911. He's gonna needle her and tease her, and say shit to her, and he's riding her. He's just. He's joking with her, but he's a little buzzed, and she's young, she's intimidated. She wasn't marking out.
Right.
She just wanted to take the order from these 25 big, ugly, drunken guys and just leave and get your food, tip me, I'm out. And he's just teasing her. You know what I mean? And one thing led to another, and again, like I said earlier, I got to put my 2 cents in. I said, hey, lighten up, man. Leave her alone. Yeah. She was getting embarrassed. I don't want to repeat what he was saying.
Right.
But I know he was just joking with her. Wait, shut that for a minute.
Okay. I know there was another outside the ring battle with you in 911 when he came back after a long absence. I think it was Heat Wave, and you did that thing where you German suplexed him and choked him out.
Yeah, he I don't know. He came to the back and he just didn't. He was kind of acting like an asshole, and I heard what he said, and I got in his face about it. I didn't like the way he acted in the ring. I didn't like his body language in the ring. I don't want to get into detail.
Right.
And I got in his face, and he was walking up the steps in the back of the locker room, and I had said, what's your fucking problem? We'll go right now.
Yeah.
See, because like what happened in Florida, at that restaurant. We didn't get to a fist fight, but I jumped over the table.
Yeah.
And, went after him. And then, he was throwing punches, but he didn't hit me. But then they broke it up. And we always had animosity since then. But in the locker room in Philly, he kind of was like, what are you talking about? And I'm not saying the guy pussed out, but he wasn't like, let's fight now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a bad temper. And to me, it doesn't matter if you're 7'9", 8'9", or 3'9".
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. We'll go. I lose. No big deal. I've lost before. But I'll be damned if I'm going to let someone disrespect me. And he disrespected me in the ring. And he knows what he did. And we cleared the air. He came to me and talked to me about it. But yeah, we've had some run-ins and stuff. But if I seen him right now, everything would be cool. I think he'd be cool with me. I don't wish any harm for the guy.
Right.
All in all, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He really is. He's got a wife and family, and he's a good guy. He's a hardworking man, and I don't wish any harm for him at all. I mean, I don't have any animosity with him. It's cool, but, you have problems. You work with guys. Shit happens.
Yeah.
I'm not the easiest guy to get along with, so,
Yeah. What happened with the Paul Varlins match? I know all the guys came out and surrounded the ring and everything. I know there was a big story for that as well.
Yeah, I got to tell you about Paul Varlins. Paul Varlins.
Unfortunately, I have to say I'm responsible for Paul Varlins for getting Paul Varlins for Paul.
Oh, okay. So see that?
I plead guilty.
Now, Paul Varlins, first of all, I'm not the type of guy to talk bad about someone if they're not here, but I will tell you, Paul Varlins is a very overrated person. The old saying, he doesn't know the difference between a wrist lock and a wrist watch. Yeah. Well, that goes for him. I'm telling you, he does not know how to wrestle. I will say he's a big dude. He's a strong guy. He can take a punch, and he can throw a lazy punch. Yeah. The way that match went, I wasn't happy about it. I wasn't happy about the way it was booked. I wanted it to be a different way. But I worked for someone. He wanted to be one way. It's hard to get into details, but what happened was there was interference in the match, which was booked. Yeah. Perry Saturn, God rest his soul, he came in and Perry came in and he jumped off the top rope and kicked him about flat and knocked his head off. Yeah. And Perry kicked him hard. Yeah. Perry can kick, and at the time, me and Perry were really tight, and Perry knocked him out, hit him from behind, but it didn't matter, he nailed him, I mean, I wasn't in danger or nothing. Perry it's a long story. Perry did what he had to do, and he kicked him, and Varlins was out, so here I am supposed to suplex him now and put my hold on him. He was fucking out, out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, there's a couple thousand people here. There's TV cameras rolling. It's a big match.
Yeah.
Now I got to pick up this 340-pound monster and suplex his dead weight.
Yeah.
And he was like half awake, half out. And I just hooked him and just went all my might, popped my hips into him. And it looked like a real shoot focus. That's what it was. You know, I mean, it was just, it was crisp. It was hard. It took a lot out of me. Yeah. And then I put the hold on him real tight. And he didn't want to tap, you know, but, you know, he did. I don't really like the guy. Yeah. I mean, what is he? Does he still? What is he doing? Anything?
He still shoots.
He
still does.
Kingdom, like UWF.
Oh yeah, UWF.
He did some of that. Yeah. He does Valley too, though.
Wow.
Like Brazil.
Valley too, though. Yeah, no. When those Brazilians are just
But was there any plans at all to make that an all-out shoot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, and Rollins wasn't shying away from it either. Yeah. You know, I'm not saying he was like, no, I don't want to. You know. But, you know, Paul was smart. You know, it's business. Straight shoots suck.
Yeah.
Okay? They suck. And they're boring. They suck.
Yeah.
Paul is a promoter. He's a booker. He's all of that. So, you know, he knew that it wouldn't be the right way to do business. He wasn't set against it all the way, you know. But I was prepared. You know, I didn't trust Paul Rollins, you know.
Right.
But I can't say I respect his accomplishments because I really don't know what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, what is trap fighting? So when he gets into a fight, that means he's fucking trapped. I mean, I don't understand what trap fighting is. So I mean, you know, he was out of it. You know, in the locker room, he was fucked. You know, not only from Perry's kick, but like the throw, he landed hard in his head, and I choked him hard. You know, so he was fucked. I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, man, you know, good fight." He's like, "Thank you, man. Thank you." I'm like, "Okay." Yeah. Then I hear he's knocking me somewhere. He's burying me somewhere, talking about my height advantage.
Right.
Yeah, well, you know, it didn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter how big he is. I'll fight him any day he wants for free, anywhere he wants. Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, he's an idiot.
What was your feelings when you found out Sabu was coming back?
I was pissed.
Yeah.
Big time furious. Big time pissed. And Sabu knew it, you know. Little did I know it would make us both a lot of money and it would be really good for the company's business and my business and Sabu's. Now I'm not pissed about it. I'm happy about it. But no, I was pissed, you know, because I mean, you know, just another guy, especially Sabu, he was a home player. He's a home team player, helped start this thing off. Just another guy jumping ship and then coming back with open arms. Mm-hmm. You know, it pissed me off. And I think it pissed off a lot of the guys that stood, but they didn't say it. I was the only one who fessed up.
Right.
You know, but I was pissed. You know, I was really pissed.
Yeah.
You know, Paul and I had big fights over it. You know, Paul's the boss. He can do what the fuck he wants. So, I mean, I wasn't happy about it at all. You know, I knew it. I knew he'd come back.
Yeah.
I knew it the day he was fired in the ring, you know. But, again, I'm glad he came back. And Paul did tell me, he goes, Taz, you're going to see you're mad now. But one day, you're going to say, thank God you brought him back.
Yeah.
And I think he was right. Paul was right. You know, I am glad he brought him back.
Do you still have animosity with him?
Not as much. We have it.
Yeah.
There's always that. This is the truth, you know. Sabu and I always have that natural competitiveness against each other. Be it money, how much we make, or push, or TV time, whatever it may be. How many shirts he sells compared to how many I sell. Right. I mean, that's Sabu and Taz. You know, that's just it. You know, and Paul loves it. He just makes money off it. You know, so I mean, I think anytime Sabu and Taz are advertised, people are gonna go, ooh, I might want to check this out. You know, Barely Legal. You know, that was an important match. You know, a lot happened in that match. A lot of anger was vented on my end and his too. Yeah. I respect the hell out of Sabu. I've said this in like these internet talks and shit. But like I respect the hell out of Sabu. I mean, he's got a heart of a lion. I mean, this guy is all heart. I mean, I have fucking hit him so hard that I hurt my arm, I hurt my hand. I mean, I've suplexed him so hard that I almost pulled my back out.
Wow.
and it hurts him, and he acts like it hurts because it really is hurting him.
Yeah.
But he don't stay down.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep him down. You know, at Barely Legal, I knocked him out in the first minute of that match. No one even realized the cross faces. He was fucked, you know, and he knows what he's doing. He got himself out that ring, gathered his shit together, got back in there, and came back. You know, I mean, I can't explain Sabu. There's only one Sabu. He's a fucking machine, and I love wrestling him. I love wrestling Sabu. I love it, you know, because it just brings something out of me. I hope I do the same for him. I don't know if I do or not. I don't know if he would say this about me or not. I know he respects me.
Right.
You know, that much I do know.
Right.
You know, we have a lot in common outside the ring. You know, we're both, not to sound like a crybaby, but we're both misunderstood.
Yeah.
You know, and we're business. You know, we have that in common. Very much business, you know. But I think there's always going to be that competitive edge between him and I. You know, always. That's why we couldn't tag.
Yeah.
Oh, we couldn't tag with each other.
Really?
You know, fuck. Oh, Paulie went through hell. He had I almost threw him out of the window, the Marriott.
Really?
The night we won the belts, double tables.
Wow.
I was going to fucking kill Sabu in that hotel room. In Paulie's room. We had a meeting.
Yeah.
You heard about that?
I heard about that too. I was going to ask, but I didn't know all the details. That's why I didn't bring it up.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, yeah. Hear about that?
From you.
Really, from me? Oh, shit. I didn't see that. No, it was a heavy scene. You know, I mean, it was business. We just couldn't do business together.
Yeah.
We're much better being opponents than we are partners. I would love to tag with him one day, just once, one match. You know, I think the people would be like, well, this is cool, you know. Oh, yeah. But I don't know if he would want to tag with me. I think so, you know. But, you know, he's kind of doing his own thing right now. I'm doing my own thing right now, you know. Every once in a while on some show, Paulie will throw a Sabu Taz match on there, you know. So it's, you know, I look forward to wrestling him all the time. You know, I know I'll wrestle him again soon. And like I said, I think when we're both old and gray and sitting in the locker room as agents with cigars and big fat bellies, that we'll always have that little bit of competitive edge, you know.
Yeah. Coming a week after the Hard Austin match at WrestleMania with a year build up to the feud, was there a lot of pressure going into Barely Legal?
Just a little. Yeah, there was a lot of pressure. Wait, Hart Austin, what do you mean?
Bret Hart and Steve Austin.
Yeah, what about?
They had WrestleMania the week before, and everybody was talking about, you know.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
You guys at Barely Legal next week.
Yeah, I was like, well, we're gonna take a second seat again to WWF or WCW, you know, and but you know, I was so into Barely Legal because it was my first pay-per-view ever after all the years of busting my ass. Right. A high-profile main event match with a guy that I truly hated, you know, and he hated me, and it was out. Everyone knew it. Yeah. And, I mean, this was my time to show my peers, especially, I hate to say it, my peers before the fans. Right. Because I've had people tell me, oh, you're never going to make it. You're too short. You're never going to make it. You don't have the connections. You're never going to make it. You're not a yes man. You're not a kiss ass. You know, they're probably right. But I work for someone that is a rebel, so he respects me being a rebel. Right. You know, it's not like I said at the arena last week, an Austin McMahon angle with me and Paulie. Right. I am a headache for that man. Trust me. Right. Sabu is too. Sabu used to be the worst headache. Now I am a headache for him. And Paulie, believe me, you know, he puts his fucking foot down, you know, and he does what he's got to do. Yeah. And I do know he's the boss. But I've earned the right to have say and stuff like that. But, you know, he has the final word, of course. He's the boss, right? He signs the check. But, yeah, the Barely Legal thing was stressful. You know, I mean, I couldn't thank Paul enough for letting me be one of the wrestlers, the main event, his first pay-per-view. You know, that was awesome. I'll never forget that night. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. I have the videotape of it, and I don't even open it. I don't look at it or nothing. Really? I'm going to just save that. Wow. I mean, I've seen it on different tape, but, like, that is the most – I'm sure you're going to ask it down the road, that question. That's the most memorable match I've ever had in my life. Right.
I know you've had a lot of matches with Rob Van Dam recently and back then. I know that the first time you guys wrestled, it seemed at one point he threw a chair at you and you took him down. And it got pretty rough.
Yeah, it got ugly.
Yeah.
First of all, Rob Van Dam, in my opinion, is by far the most underrated professional wrestler in wrestling today. There is not another Rob Van Dam.
He's the next Michaels.
Bigelow called him the next Michaels and Keiji Muto on interview.
By far. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it that first night I wrestled him. Yeah. Rob has a tendency sometimes, he gets a little nutty out there. He fucking cleaned my clock with a chair. Yeah. And, I mean, he fucking whacked me.
Yeah.
And I just seen red. I just fucking blew into him and double-legged him, and it was on, you know. And then, you know, we did business. You know, it was cool. You know, we did what we had to do, and everything was cool. But, you know, I don't think he, to say it like this, but I don't think he did it deliberately to go and mangle my face, which he didn't do. You know, black eye, big deal. But, like, you know, he crossed the line, you know, so I had to cross it with him. You know, that's the way I work. That's the way I teach my students to work. Right. So, but Rob Van Dam, I can't say enough about Rob. I'm not going to sit here and run Rob down. I mean, Rob, I'll tell you what, I mean, he's amazing. Yeah. You know, I mean, right now, I mean, I still wish I was the television champion, but if that belt belongs to someone, I mean, what can I say about Rob Van Dam? I mean, I respect the hell out of him.
What were the two Raw appearances? How did they go? The one where you wrestled Mikey, and then the one the following week. I don't know if it was the following week, maybe a couple weeks later, when you had the confrontation with Lawler.
Oh, with the Lawler thing, you mean in Philly? You talking about? No.
At the Raw.
Oh, at the Raw in Boston.
I think that was Boston. I think it was Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Maybe Worcester.
Yeah. What about
it? Just what were they like? You know, the Raw appearances. You know, memories. What were they like?
Different. The thing I remember most is they had a room. WWE is very corporate. You know, as you can imagine. So you got nothing but people that work for them. You just got employees everywhere, just people everywhere with these little tags, you know. So that's fine, you know. So we walk in, you know, ECW came in as a unit, you know, it was a bunch of us, And they were like, yeah, you're going to be in this room. ECW's going to dress in this room, okay? It's not a big room, you know. All right, now you're going to go in this room now. You know. So I went up to the guy, I'm like, hey, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, give us the fucking runaround, yo bullshit. Give us the fucking room, and that's that. Everybody's like, oh, that's fuck chill, you know? Yeah. So we go into this, they give us this room, and they're all, you know, ECW guys are just fucking nuts, you know, just doing our thing, laughing, fucking around, doing whatever, you know, everybody's just doing their thing. And all these other locker rooms around ours, it was just quiet. It was like a morgue. Yeah. So I kept saying, fuck this place, I don't fucking work here. Fuck this, I don't work here, you know. Fuck they, you know, because I kind of felt bad for their guys. You know, their guys were just quiet and so worried about getting somebody pissed off and getting heat and whatever. And our guys were just like chilling, you know, being ECW, you know. It's funny because when we went to, I think it was Worcester, when I did the other thing with Lawler, no, like he would say things about my height. He said things about my height, and that makes me laugh. You know, I'm a legitimate like a quarter of an inch from 5'9". Lawler's all of 5'10". Okay, you know, but he's doing his job. You know, it's no big deal. And like the whole height thing, that's another thing. I mean, like, you know, I wrestled barefoot for like 7.5 years. No one said nothing about my height. Right. You know, but like you get to a certain point in your career where you're successful and whatever, and they can't find nothing else to pick at you on. Fans and your peers. Okay, he's not average height for pro wrestling. He's not tall. He's short. Let's call him short. So then you get the signs, you know, Taz fears. The last one to me was hilarious. Taz fears basketball. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. Yeah. You know, but I mean, like, what about, like, a Malenko? Yeah. I'm like fucking Andre next to Malenko, believe me, you know? Or like Chris, you know, Benoit or Candido, you know, but it's cool. You know, the fans need something. You know, it depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll play into it, sometimes I won't. I know I'm getting off on the subject.
That's okay, whatever.
You asked me about
the Raw. And
yeah, we were in Massachusetts, and they gave us a nice big room. They didn't fuck with us this time. Right. And Vader and Bret Hart dressed in our room. Really? Because, like, you know, the atmosphere was so... I think, well, we knew Hawk worked for ECW so much, and Hawk. So like they all dressed in our room, so it was like they were like, yeah, it's fucking much better in here, you know, we're just chilling, you know. I mean, I'm not knocking the WWF guys, you know, I'm friends with a lot of them. It's just it's a little tenser situation there, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, we had the liberty to fuck around and get nutty. So,
was there any animosity when you were there from the other WWF wrestlers, as far as you taking TV time away from them, or?
If there was, they didn't say nothing to me. No, I didn't see any of it. No.
Right. Wow. I guess the next question is Stevie Richards. He went on Nitro right after he left here, and he did the thing where he folded his arms.
Yeah.
You know, did his little Taz imitation.
Yeah, well, I think he did that because in Asbury Park, I was like running him down and shit, saying he was carrying Scotty's bags, and well, Scotty has somebody else to carry his bags now. So, Stevie, you know, I mean, I guess that was his receipt or whatever, and I called him up on the phone. I said, yeah, that was pretty funny. I didn't see him do it. I heard about it. So it's pretty funny. I just did it. Yeah, you know, well, you know, I didn't mean nothing by it. I'm like, yeah, I won't do it no more. He's like, huh? I'm like, don't do that no more. You know, never again will you do that. Okay? You know, and then he was like, you know, I had words with him. I put Stevie in his place, and that was it. You know, when Stevie worked here, Stevie to this day probably thinks that I didn't like him, and that wasn't the case. Because if I didn't like Stevie, I wouldn't have tried to help him and talk to him and criticize him as much as I did. See, if I don't like someone, it's just like, I completely blow him off. You know, nothing. There was a guy who used to work for our company that I did that to. I tried to help twice, didn't get nowhere with him or me, and I just didn't like him. Non-existent to me. No need for me to say his name. If he wasn't still currently working, I would. Even though this is a shoot interview. Sorry, Rob. So, but Stevie, you know, I mean, I try to help Stevie a lot. You know, I was honest with Stevie about a lot of different things and gave my opinion to him about a lot of different things. And he probably thinks I was just picking on him, and I really wasn't picking on him. You know, and I told Stevie that just when he left ECW, because of his neck or whatever, when he came back to November to Remember in Pittsburgh, I had sat down, had a long talk with him.
Yeah.
You know, because I almost kicked the shit out of him in that locker room.
I remember.
Yeah, you heard about it. Yeah. So I mean, he just, you know, he came back and just was said to one of the younger guys, "Hey, go get me this and go get me a T-shirt, and go get me that." And I'm like, "Whoa, you've been gone, being a big WCW star, and now you're gonna come back to my locker room and be giving orders, motherfucker? You ain't giving orders to anybody." And I put him in his fucking place at a live pay-per-view about 10 minutes before we went on air. You know, and then he realized he had heat, you know, and I wasn't going to fucking take it. He didn't tell me to go get him a shirt, but he told one of the guys. And, you know, and then Stevie and I talked, and it seemed like we worked everything out. And then 2 weeks later, he fucked up again. So, you know, and I talked to him again, and that's the last I seen of Stevie. I mean, I feel Stevie has tremendous... had a tremendous future as a wrestler, a TV personality. First time that kid got on the mic, you know, I knew it. I'm like, this guy's got it. You know, he's great. He really is. He has it. You know, and he's just got a good look. You know, it's just, Stevie just has a look. You know, he can wrestle. He can move in there. You know, he's capable.
Yeah.
I don't know what his future is. I mean, I heard he was hurt. I hope he gets better if he's out hurt. I mean, you know, if he came back to our locker room, I have no problem with Stevie Richards at all.
Right.
I really don't. I mean, I think Stevie and I cleared the air, you know.
Right.
So.
Right.
What's with him? Is he out?
He's rehabilitating. Yeah. He's going surgery after surgery. He's got his voice back. And
oh shit.
And he doesn't know if he can work again because if he takes a clothesline or something to the throat, he can knock the whole voice box out.
How about that? I fucking accuse him of bullshit.
Yeah.
I feel bad now. He has a scar. He didn't put it like a written, like Sabu has his makeup. He puts all his face on.
That's pretty big, actually.
Oh, wait, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to take a leak. Okay.
What are your thoughts on Perry Saturn leaving? What were your thoughts when he left? And now, God rest his soul.
When Perry left, I was shocked. You know, when he called me, he never spoke directly to Paulie, right? He spoke to me. You know, he never said no. I was like, Perry, you got to tell Paul you're gonna leave. Him and Paul were having problems anyway, and I was trying to schmooze it out, and it just wasn't working. Perry and I were like best friends. You know, we on the road together. I found him his place in Long Island, and we started the dojo together. I mean, you know, you name it. You know, we were tight. You know, wives knew each other, the whole nine. You know what I mean? And Perry, he said, no, I gotta go. And it wasn't about money. You know, he didn't want to tag with Cronus no more. And I used to go on the road sometimes with him and Cronus together, and they didn't get along. I mean, in the beginning they did. As time went on, the more they got over, the more they didn't get along. John's a hard guy. John Cronus, I mean, I love John. But what you see on TV is John Cronus. You know, he does that woo and all that shit. I mean, it's really him. You know, he's fucking nuts. You know, I mean, he's got a heart. I mean, he's a great-hearted guy. I mean, but he's just so hard. I mean, he's all about just chilling and having a good time. You know, Perry and I, you know, I mean, Perry is all business. I'm the same way. So Perry and I have a lot of similarities. Now we have more, thanks to Perry. But no, but when he left, I was pissed. I was pissed that he was leaving because, I mean, he was supposed to be here forever. You know, that's the way I looked at it. You know, I mean, we were tight. You know, I mean, you guys were always around. You know, I mean, I was just shocked. You know, and it bothered me. And then we remained friends once he signed with them for a while. Right. And then he told me what they had planned for him to do, and that's when there was problems. You know, because I had said no to them and stuff, and so there was problems with. I'm sure you're gonna get to that too. Yeah. And I feel like they had him. Hey, go ahead and do your best friend's suplexes, and Perry knows that bothers me if someone does something. Well, it used to bother me if someone does something that I invented, like a T-bone suplex or a front head nom suplex or any unique throw. Just about I've came up with. I mean, suplex has been part of wrestling for 100 years. But, you know, in pro wrestling, unique throws, and he had a goatee, and he had a short haircut. I mean, he had a hood on his head instead of a towel on his head. Yeah. I mean, just the whole thing, you know. I mean, pissed me off, you know. And I was just shocked he did it, you know. Now I really can care less. I mean, I really could. I mean, I wish Perry the best of success, you know, whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? I hope he's happy. Yeah. You know, Perry left here. And he wanted to be a singles wrestler. He wanted to be by himself and all that stuff. But yet, he's part of a flock. Yeah. You know, so that kind of sucks for him. Yeah. But, you know, I really felt like Perry Saturn, I got him his fucking job in his company. You know, him and John Cronus. I seen a tape of them. I'm like, Paulie, you got to bring these guys in. These guys are amazing. Yeah. Well, I heard of them, blah, 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 blah. Tony Rumble actually gave me a tape of them, sent me a tape. And then Perry and I talked on the phone one day for like an hour, man. We just clicked. We just got along. And I heard of him, he heard of me. And the weird thing is we were supposed to tag for New Japan years ago. A lot of people didn't know this. Wow. And they were that was when I was working for them, and I thought I was going to get a job. They were like, yeah, we're going to tag with this guy from Boston named Perry Saturn. And I heard the name because he worked the Northeast Independence. I worked the Northeast Independence. And I heard of him, you know. Right. And we were going to tag, and when I get to Japan, I'm like, well, where's my partner? They go, no, something happened and he's not here. And that was the last I heard of Perry Saturn. Yeah. And then when I seen the tape that Rumble sent me and I heard the name, I'm like, I know that name. And then when Perry and I seen what he looked like. Yeah. And then when Perry and I talked, he's like, you the same Taz? I'm like, yeah. And it's like, shit, you know, and it's just weird, you know, we just clicked. But it bothered me a lot that he left. I mean, you know, him and I were tighter than him and John, you know, right. I mean, I thought that we were better friends than we were. I guess I was wrong, you know, because, you know, it'd be fine if Perry left ECW because he wanted more money, which wasn't the case. Right. He's not really making that much money he was here. And it'd be fine if Perry left because he was going to be a singles wrestler. I mean, Perry took so much pride in his look. You know, he had a great body, you know, had an ounce of body fat on him. And I remember when they told him he had to wear jeans and shit, and Doc Martens or whatever, and his flannels, he was fucking pissed. You know, he told me about it. I was like, God damn it. You know, I want to wear my trunks, and I'm a wrestler. You know, I'm not a gimmick. I'm like, I know, Perry. I was going to see what the fuck happened now, you know? And one thing led to another, and they put on him that they wanted him to do my style. And I was like, Perry, you do your own style. I like his old style better than my current style. I mean, I'm a fan of his work more than my own. I mean, Perry did some amazing shit. Right. You know, I mean, it's still, whenever I don't watch their show, I don't want to say one of those wrestlers. I don't watch nothing else. I watch wrestling as much as I can. Right. You understand, I got a life too, and I just need a break from the business sometimes. But when I see Perry, and I've seen him, you know, on WCW, and I still, to me, still don't look right on their TV. But he works for them. He don't work for us. You know, that's it. You know, he made his choice. I hope he's happy. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and bury him. You know, I mean, I can, but I ain't gonna. You know, I'm not. I believe in karma. You know, I've done a lot for Perry. You know, and I don't say that to fall to his face. I feel like he kind of slapped me in the face. He knows. We've talked. He might want to come across like he doesn't know why Taz is mad at him. He knows why Taz is mad at him. You know, I mean, you know, when this guy woke up from his knee surgery, you know, standing in that recovery room with him, you know, wasn't Paul Heyman, wasn't Scott Levy, wasn't Eric Bischoff, wasn't John Kronos, wasn't fucking Lick Boy, whatever the fuck he's called. It wasn't any of these fucking guys, you know. It was me and my wife. You know, I'm the one who helped him up his steps to his apartment after his knee surgery. I'm the one who went food shopping with him. You know, I mean, you know, it was me. You know, I mean, I thought that would, you know, I mean, you train together, you start a dojo together, you break bread together, you go on a road together, you fucking share a hotel room together, you're on an airplane together, you're miserable with each other, you know, outside the business you guys are tight, you know, and, you know, I feel I taught Perry a lot of stuff too. A lot of things about mat work he wanted to learn, and I would take time to teach him. And he knows that. He admitted that when we left. He's like, we stood in this very office. We said goodbye. We shook hands. We hugged. You know, and you know, Paulie wanted him out of here. You know, which was fine. I mean, you can't blame Paul. You know, fuck. And he's like, man, I learned so much from you. You know, I'm like, I learned from him too, though. There's some things I learned from him. It's obvious that I'm pissed, you know, and it's obvious that I'm insulted, you know, it's obvious that it's like pussy, but my feelings were not hurt that he left the company, you know, just the way he left. I mean, Paul did so much for him, man. I mean, believe me, I mean, Paul did a lot for this guy, you know, in and out of the industry. I mean, he did a lot for him. You know, and I just can't believe Perry, man. He didn't even shake Paul's hand and say, listen, man, thanks a lot. Goodbye. Not even here's my notice or I'll do a job on the way out. None of that dumb shit. None of that. You know, not even like, hey, Paulie, thanks a lot. I think you're a fucking asshole, but thank you. Nothing. And I just still, I can't believe it. Wow. I'm the only one left in the company that can't get over it. Everybody else is like, fuck him, he's gone. You know? And you know, I guess because you know, I always kept my guard up my whole life because of where I grew up and where I grew up, never to get swerved or lied to by someone or misconceptions about someone. But I guess because I was wrong about Perry, that's why it bothers me so much. Because I feel like a fucking jabroni. And I'm fucking pissed. I'm very pissed. You know, if I see Perry here right now, I mean, I wouldn't say, hey, bastard, stop beating him up, you know. I wouldn't do that, you know, and I don't expect Perry to do that with me either, you know, but he's not welcome in any locker room in ECW that I'm in. So,
You think he'll be back?
As long as I'm here, because if he comes back here, I can't work here if he's here. I just can't work here if he's here. Paul wants to bring him back. That's up to Paul, but you know, I don't run the company. Paul does, but I can't work here if my boss decided to bring back a person who left the way he left our company.
It's like it's kind of ironic too. When he left, he said he was leave to be a singles wrestler, and then he was tagging with Stevie Richards of all people next week at TV tapings. So
exactly.
Go figure.
Exactly.
Anyway, back I think it was November, maybe October, November. Your contract was coming up, and you negotiated with WCW and Eric Bischoff. And of course, Eric Bischoff denies it. Says he negotiated. The only Taz he ever talked to was his cat named Taz.
Yeah, I guess that means I'm a pussy. Eric Bischoff's a fucking liar. First of all, he knows damn well he spoke to me and negotiated with me. I don't need to make shit up like that. My deal was coming to an end, and Paulie and I were having some business, not problems, but just some disagreements. And you know, I just had a house built a year and a half ago, and you know, just little things. I needed a little bit more of everything. And so Paulie actually suggested to me, he goes, Taz, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to suggest it just so you can be a better employee here. And I know the way you are about people. I think you should explore your other options out there. He's like, I don't want you to go anywhere, but I think you should talk to Eric Bischoff. And I said, are you firing me? No, not at all. Because if you tell me, fuck Eric Bischoff, I don't want to talk to him. Paul said, that'd be great. Let's work out a deal. But he goes, I think that you need to do this. I was very unhappy here right before my deal. I mean, I was very, very unhappy. The guys knew it. Everybody, I mean, just it was bad, you know. You guys are around enough. You probably noticed it. It was just the shits. So I took Paul's advice. He said to me just before you agree to sign a letter of intent or anything like that, just talk to me first. Give me your word. No contract. He goes, I go, you got my word. You know, and he trusted me.
Yeah.
So I talked it over with my wife and crap, and a couple of days went by, and then I called Eric Bischoff. I spoke to him, and he was like very leery. You know, do you have a contract? This now my deal's coming to an end shortly, and you didn't sign for 1998. No, I did not yet. Blah blah blah. It was okay. Can you call me back? Or I said, you can call me back. Why don't you call me back? I play this fucking game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I mean, we spoke later on that afternoon, and I'm sure I was being recorded, and there was 15 guys in the fucking room, the whole goofy jabroni fucking asshole thing. No problem. I'll play the game. And we talked, and Bischoff, made sure I didn't have a contract. He was protecting himself, and for 98 this is. And I told him the truth. I said, when we hang up, I'm letting you know I have to call Paul, and I'm going to tell him, I can do business with this guy, or I can, or this. They want to offer me this much. How much will you give me? And I said, I told him I want to work for Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was like, okay, why are we speaking now? I go, well, because if I can get a better deal from you, then I'm going to work for you.
Yeah.
So he made an offer. It was a good offer. I'm like, okay. And I said, can we talk tomorrow? And he goes, well, what do you think? I go, well, it's not that easy, I mean, I have to talk to Paul, and I'm going to talk to my wife. Okay, he goes, I forget the exact words, but he said, let's talk tomorrow, and I'll give you another offer. Great business, All right. So, okay, what do you say? No, don't give me another offer. Yeah. I'm like, it doesn't matter. If he would have offered me $60 zillion, I still, not to sound corny, but I gave my word to Paul. I'm going to talk to him. Yeah. And I have a good deal in ECW. I had a good deal. I didn't want to lose that. I didn't want to just be another guy who left ECW. I've seen so many guys coming in and out. It's sick of the shit. Spoke to Paul for that evening. About 15 minutes. We talked. Worked out a new deal. Right there, done for 98.
Yeah.
Agreed to it, Didn't sign the paper, no need, just I trusted his word, trusted mine. I said, you got it. I said, I'm just gonna let, if I speak to Bischoff tomorrow, if I speak to him, don't be hot about it. I just, I told the guy, give him at least a call, He goes, no problem, he goes, don't burn a bridge, you never know. I go, okay, cool. Of course, he told me, he said, Taz, because he knows me, Paul, he's like, as soon as you talk to Bischoff for 5 minutes, people. Yeah. You're gonna be turned off. And if you don't, and you fly down there with your wife to meet him, he goes, because Paul knows my wife. He's like, your wife's never gonna let you sign a contract with these people.
Correct.
Because of the way Eric Bischoff is.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck if Bischoff sees us or not. Paul's right. If that means I burn a bridge, I don't give a fuck. God forbid ECW folded today, I'll fucking wash cars. I don't give a fuck. I'll break fingers at the Brooklyn fucking Navy Yard. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. I don't need to work for him. Yeah. And that's it. So, and if he thinks he was being trapped in any way, shape, or form because I'm an office guy, he wasn't being trapped. Yeah. He wasn't. I was honest with him. He's not used to maybe dealing with honest people, but I was being honest with him. Right. And then basically the next day it was I'm set with Paul, and and he wasn't super happy about it.
Yeah.
There was another figure thrown out. It was good. There was a comment thrown out. You're not making that where you are now.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know that. And even if I wasn't, it doesn't matter. It's my prerogative to go and stay where I am.
All right.
Why would I go work somewhere where I have to be on the road 250, 260 days a year compared to 150 days a year, and I'm making just a little bit less?
Right.
I have to be a fool.
Right.
And I have a job for life here.
Yeah.
I have say. I'm not a puppet.
Yeah.
And I can be myself. And I don't have to worry about, Taz blew out his shoulder in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So let's reevaluate his contract and give him his notice. I know if Taz blows out his shoulder in Buffalo, when my shoulder heals, I'll be working again.
Yeah.
And I'm getting paid while I'm healing. I mean, I've earned that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was worried that, the trust that Paul and I had with each other, maybe it did happen. Maybe it kind of got a little weaker because I did speak to Eric.
Yeah.
But Paul, I'm not saying, well, Paul told me to do it. I'm not saying that,
Right.
but Paul did what he had to do. I did what I had to do, and the bottom line is, as Paul says, hey, you didn't go nowhere. You stood.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm happy I did, and I'm happy with the money I'm making. Very happy. And at home, my home life is happy about it. So that's important to me. So, I mean, hey, sure, I mean, I'm not on the Monday Night Wars and all that shit, but it doesn't matter. I'm in a company that's only 5 years old that's growing like a son of a bitch. And I have a top spot that I've earned, that I've been here from the very beginning. I've watched it grow. I worked at Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, in front of 200 drunken motherfuckers. So I mean, I've worked the other goofy towns. We worked in that strip joint pulsations, whatever. So I've done all that shit. So I mean, I'm glad we don't go to the builds no more. I'm sure you guys are glad too. But
all everybody does is complain. It works out there anyway. So.
God, I know. Well, I mean, like, I heard that the atmosphere in WCW is not good anyway. The guys are kind of, if you got guys making, 8, 9 a year, they're unhappy. Well, if you're making 350, 250 a year, there's a good chance. I mean, I'm no fucking genius, but I mean, if you're making 8 a year and I'm making 350, and you're not happy, dear light fucking bulb, I'm not going to be happy.
Right.
More.
So, weird. I figure they'd be happy to make so much money they get TV time.
It's not about it, though. You see, it's about, can you look at yourself in the mirror every morning, and say, I have a job. I'm proud to be where I am. I didn't have to kiss ass and suck dick to get where I'm at. I busted my ass, and I'm here. And hey, a lot of those wrestlers in WCW by far have paid their dues. I mean, hey, you can say what you want about Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage. If Hulk Hogan put wrestling on the map, I mean, there ain't people know who the hell Hulk Hogan is. Right. I was raised in the industry to respect any veteran in this business, and especially a veteran that paid their dues. And I don't know Hulk Hogan personally. I mean, I don't know Randy Savage personally. I've met Savage. I think I met Hogan. I can't comment on these people, but I mean, they've earned the right. I mean, do I think they should retire? I mean, hey, I don't know how old Hogan. How old's Hogan?
He's up there in his 40s.
All right, so if he's 43, when I'm 43, I hope, number one, I look as good as him, okay? And I hope, number two, I'm making the money he's making, So, I mean, who the hell am I to knock Hulk Hogan? Right. So, I mean, I'm not knocking the wrestlers in WCW, but it's a shame. Those guys are on the road a lot. They work their asses off, and I mean, who knows? I don't even know what those guys think of ECW. I really could give a flying fuck. I don't know.
Were there any options explored with WWF during that time? Or?
No, because we at the time ECW, Paul had a pretty good relationship with WWF, Vince and stuff. So it was like weird, I mean, like WWF never even came up. Yeah. Because it'd be, I don't know. I was unhappy. Yeah. I was making good money. It wasn't just money, I was just unhappy. I mean, about a lot of little things, in the ring, out of the ring, the whole deal, So I mean, that's what it was.
Right. about that time, I think maybe a little bit before then, the whole situation with the mall and Todd Gordon and everything came up. I know you're outspoken in the Torch about it. You know, what are your thoughts on it? And for those that don't know, you know, Todd tried to recruit a bunch of wrestlers to take WCW and basically would have put the company out of business or came close to it.
Well, okay. Number one, I was nervous because what could have happened was Todd could have ended the company, and I had a lot of eggs in this basket here, you know. So that made me worried. Okay. The thing I'm unhappy about is that I was the only one who came public about it. And I was fucking pissed about it. And now I regret that I came public about it. You know, let's go to Taz. He's a hothead. Let's go to Taz. He'll speak his mind. He's blunt. So I was an asshole. You know, I was the only guy who came forward about it. You know, I mean, I know Todd a long time. I could have just called Todd and said, hey, Todd, what the fuck's the deal? And just dealt with him man to man. But I didn't do that. Right. You know, and I regret it now. And I've spoke to Todd since then. I mean, my friends with Todd Gordon? No. If I seen Todd Gordon right now in the street, would I punch him? No. Right. Would I hug him? No. Right. Oh, would I shake his hand? Yeah, I'll shake his hand just out of respect. You know, the guy has children. You know, I know his kids. I know him. And he owned the company when I first started here. Yes, Paulie was the booker, but he paid me. So I remember that. And I always thank Todd for that.
Right.
Was I shocked about Todd? You bet your ass.
Yeah.
Big time shocked. You know, but I came forward about the Todd Gordon thing, and I shouldn't have.
Yeah. Wow.
I shouldn't have. But some people in this company feel that I did the right thing, but they didn't come up. They didn't make
back you up. Yeah. Around that time, Sandman also did an interview in the same newsletter. He called you a cancer in the locker room. I like that. Some of the guys, you know, have
cancer, lung cancer,
whatever,
liver cancer,
whatever that means. I don't know, but you know, some of the guys have gone to the sheets before and said you're hard to deal with, and you know, an ego or whatever. I mean, me personally, not kissing your ass, you know, but I mean, you've always been one of the most easygoing guys. Every time I've been back there and needed something from you, you know, that's just my personal experience with you. But I'm not a wrestler, so you know.
Good question. I knew it was coming. First of all, Salmon and me, everything's cool. Okay. Once I heard he went to the sheets and said what he said, let's face it, all the sheets are a bunch of fucking shit stirring fucking pussies. Everybody knows that. You know, so I mean, Salmon, I called, I said, hey man, I heard you buried me in the sheets. What the fuck is that all about? I mean, because I see this guy at work and everything's cool, you know. I'm like, you know, if there was a problem, bro, let's talk. He goes, you buried my best friend. What? On the phone, this is. You buried my best friend. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is months later. It's like, Todd Gordon, you buried him in the sheets, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, boom, clicks to me. Fuck, you and Todd is super tight. And I did bury Todd. I'm like, okay, you're right. All right. Good receipt, cool. Yeah. But why the fuck did you go behind my back and do it? You know, I mean, because, well, I thought you looked hypocritical too because you almost worked a deal out with WCW after all this. Wait, well, I said, yes, that's true, but it wasn't behind Paul's back. Right. You know, I mean, it was right from Paul. But I got fucking Bischoff's, whatever. But I mean, you know, it was right from Paul. You know, but I mean, so I said to Sammy, I said, listen, I said, I'm gonna be a man. I apologize about thinking about Todd Gordon. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm even gonna call Todd Gordon because Sandman's the one who made me realize by saying that to me that I was the only one who came public about, you know, Todd.
Right.
One thing led to another, and Sandman and I talked, and he said, okay, I should, you know, and he said I should have went to the sheets, man, you know, I'll try and get them to retract. I go, no, fuck it, leave it alone, it's cool. You know, I said, you know, but next time, man, I said, you know, tell me my fucking face. Because you're right, I should have, you know. And I said, I'm going to call Todd. He goes, you don't even have to for me. I said, no, I'm going to do it for me because I should do that. He goes, okay, cool. Since then, everything's been great, I think. Now, you know, like I work with Sandman. There's not a problem. You know what I mean? Everything's been cool. As far as me being a cancer in the locker room, I swear to God, man, okay, on my life, I have never, ever, never, ever, never done anything to bury a wrestler in that locker room. I have probably the stroke to have someone fired like that. Top guys, and I've never done it. No matter what your attitude is, or if you have a drinking problem, or you chase 2-year-old girls around. I mean, you know, or you're a drug addict or a steroid freak, or you just beat people up, or you're a thief.
Right.
I've never taken upon myself to have someone fired. Okay? Number 2, I have gotten so many guys positions in this company that the fans have no idea. Guys that people would be like, "Has got that guy in?" Yes, I did. Okay, a lot of guys that you guys know about. Okay, I have gotten guys raises that couldn't get money. I am far from a cancer in that locker room. What makes me a cancer? Because I choose to stay to myself. Because I don't come in the locker room and all happy, fucking rah, ja, fucking sitting there with a beer in my hand, all fucking happy. That's not me. I'm at work. I take my job serious. It took me a long time to get where I'm at. It took me a lot of hard work and hardship in my personal life and professional life to get where I am. I'm angry that it took me so long. And when I'm at work, I'm very serious about my job. Very serious. Probably too serious. To the point that I tell my students not to be as serious as me. Okay, I can see why people might think maybe he's a cancer. Especially a guy like Sandman, because Sandman's such a, an outgoing, fun-loving guy, and he is, and that's great, man. That works for Sandman. Sandman said to me once, "Taz, you're too serious about life." I'm like, you don't know me. You know me for a couple hours, a couple days a week in a locker room. You don't know me.
Right.
Nobody knows me. Only guy in this business who my cousin Chris knows me.
Right.
And Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer was my best man at my wedding.
Yeah.
Tommy knows me. I am not miserable 24 hours a day. Okay, but it's not a gimmick neither. But I'm not this happy, fun-loving guy at work. No, I'm not. You won't catch me at a bar with the guys or at some fucking titty bar with the guys. I stay in a different hotel than the guys. I rent my own car. I take a different flight than the guys. Not that I'm better than them. That's not my case. It's not an ego thing at all. I need a break from these guys. You gotta understand. We'll go on a 3-4 day loop sometimes. You see these fucking guys more than your old lady, man. It drives you nuts.
Yeah.
I need a break. I need that Taz time.
Yeah.
And even in the locker room, I like to stay by myself. I've been the same way since I started. From making $50 a match, driving 8 hours to fucking Maine, to now. I choose to stay to myself.
Yeah.
Guys have noticed when I'm in the locker room and I'm not wrestling that night, they say, "Man, you're completely different." I have a completely different attitude.
Yeah.
I get very tense and stressed before my matches. No matter where it is, house show, TV tape, and 100 people or 4,000 people. That's just me. I'm not a cancer. I don't bury no one. I don't hurt no one. I stay to myself. I mind my fucking business. I choose to be a loner. And I've been like that since I'm a kid. So, people, don't understand.
Yeah.
So fine, fuck it.
Yeah.
If you want to perceive me as the miserable prick, then guess what I'm gonna be. I will be the miserable prick then. See? So I'll be what you want me to be. That's all. So that's what they say. No problem. And what does Paul do? He loves it. He makes money off it. So no problem. Cool.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Wow. Is that one of the most stressful things about your job? Would you say?
What
as far as
your peers? You mean?
Yeah, as far as the undeserved criticism, as far as
nah.
Nah.
The hardest thing about my job is just the competition, and I have a good spot,
Yeah.
It's a very high competitive job. We have like 5 top guys, and no one ever says, "Hey, man, it's tough, it's competitive," but it is.
Yeah.
Who those guys are too. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. You got to understand something. I got to go out there and wrestle a match. So now I either got to follow or go before a guy, like a New Jack coming out with a bunch of weapons, which people go crazy for. It works for Jack. Don't work for me. I'm a wrestler. Now, what are people going to pop more for? A guy hitting a guy with a fucking guitar or a guy doing a great fucking figure 4 armbar?
Right.
So, it's hard, Then I got to compete with a guy walking out with a fucking half-naked fucking girl.
Yeah.
And I'm walking out fucking with a nice tan with a black towel on my head with oil. I mean, I'm a guy. I mean, I got to compete with, the Dudleys, a bunch of freaks, and a guy like Gertner with them who's hilarious, it's hard for me. People think it's easy. Granted, I don't have to go in there and I'm not getting busted open every night with a goddamn laptop computer or a fucking bicycle tire. I know that. But I did. When I started in ECW, like I said earlier, Sabu, when I started all that crazy shit. Now I've earned the right that I can just straight up wrestle. And that's how I'm marketed. I'm the only pure wrestler marketed guy here. Because I can get the job done. But it's hard. Yeah, you get, you guys see sometimes at the arenas, you get the guys who, they just want to see blood and guts.
Right.
They don't give a fuck. I mean, some of the loudest noises I've heard in the match is like me and Bigelow going outside an arena fighting. And to me, I hate doing it.
Yeah.
I want to get in there. Let's take the ropes down and wrestle.
Yeah.
Let's fucking straight up wrestle. But it's hard, It's hard. So that's stressful for me.
Yeah.
I got to keep a top spot with no gimmick, just a towel and this shit and some fucking heavy music and this miserable attitude that I can suplex people and choke you out. It's really nothing compared to what other guys are bringing to the table here.
Right.
I mean, just that's why I like a Rob Van Dam. I mean, you got to be a fan of this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got that ability to just so flexible in the way he kicks and shit. I mean, and he can straight up wrestle too. I mean, Rob's got it all. So I mean, I don't have the ability. I wasn't trained the way Rob was to kick like he does.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll bend your fucking arm behind your head and laugh, but I mean, I'm not a kicker. I'm not a good striker. I mean, so it's easier for a guy like a Rob Van Dam to have a super unbelievable match with like a Bam Bam Bigelow, but Taz will have a really good match with Bam Bam Bigelow because Rob is doing and like Sabu or Rip Wreck or these guys are doing these fucking flips and this crazy shit and blah 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 blah.
Right.
If I go to the top rope, my boss says to me, okay, good. Every once in a blue moon, I'll go to the top rope. He says, but I pay you to wrestle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I'm not a puppet, but
right.
That's how he pays me. He doesn't pay me, to be a high flyer. So it's hard. That's one of the things that stresses me. That's the hardest part about my job is following some of the shit that you have there.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on your current feud with Bam Bam Bigelow and the match you guys had at Living Dangerously?
Good. I like the feud. I thought Living Dangerously was cool. I liked it. I mean, I thought it was a good match. I didn't like that I lost the belt. I don't like to lose. I've lost a lot early in my career, and I don't like losing. And that's me. Fuck it. Bam Bam Bigelow, I respect Bam Bam. It's hard not to. He's done it all. The one thing weeks before Bare Legal, I didn't, I kind of had to clear the air with Bam Bam face to face about it behind the cameras. Bam Bam had this perception that, if you ain't been to WWF in 1986, you ain't done shit in your career. Attitude. That didn't sit well with me. Bam Bam, everybody sees it. The guy had like a second burst of energy in his career,
Yeah.
In ECW.
That's what he said.
He said that?
Yeah. He said he was reborn.
Sick. I mean, he has to because he has to keep up with the guys,
Yeah.
And he does. I mean, he does his fucking part. Believe me. You go in there with that fucker, he goes. He's a big, strong man. He's tough. He's not just some gimmick guy with a funny tattoo on his head.
Yeah.
But Bam Bam, I shouldn't accuse him of it. I felt like he had that attitude, he had did a radio show somewhere in Rochester, New York, and I had did one right after him on the same station, and they kind of started to share it, and they said something that he said that, what has Taz done? Where's he been? What has he done? I'm like, you guys just stirring it up. He didn't say that. They go, we're going to cue it up, let you hear it. So they queued up, let me hear it. I was shocked that he said that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, one of the things I said this on the radio. I said, he said that who have I ever beat? First of all, I beat his leader of the Triple Threat for the TV belt in 3 minutes. You know, so how? I said, why would he come out and say this? And they're like, well, I don't know. Well, then when I seen Bam Bam, I said, why would you say something like that? You know, I didn't say this on camera.
Yeah.
Like, why? What'd you say that for?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't working for WWF and tagging with Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania, whatever the fuck it was that he tagged with Survivor Series. I don't know what the fuck it was. You know, so I mean, with the flames and the shit. I mean, you know, he goes, well, no, you know, and it's just a radio show. I'm like, well, no, you said it. Why? Why? You know, I mean, what? I haven't accomplished nothing here, or in the industry, or what Tommy Dreamer hasn't, or Sandman hasn't, or Sabu hasn't. You know, and you know, he didn't say, oh, Taz, you're right. He didn't say that. He explained himself, you know, and he, you know, I'm not saying, hey, be ECW for life or whatever that dumb shit is. I'm not saying that, but you know, hey, I wish I could have worked for the WWF in its heyday.
Yeah.
Believe me, I wish that I was 6'4" with a tattooed head, 360 pounds, and my name was Bam Bam Bigelow in 1984, 85, 86. Yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell year it was, 89.
88, I
Fuck,
think
it was
88.
88. But you know, whatever. I respect Bam Bam. I don't like him for some of the things he said, you know, but I respect Bam Bam. I like wrestling Bam Bam. I think he brings something out of me, and I think I bring something out of him.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how he feels about me, and it doesn't matter. You know, it's business. You know, I can wrestle him, and he can wrestle me, and that's it. He knows he's in there with someone, and I know I'm in there with someone. You know. So.
At Living Dangerously, didn't you wrestle most of the match knocked out, or
what's that?
At Living Dangerously,
yeah.
Didn't you wrestle most of the match knocked out?
Yeah. When I suplexed him off the stage, I T-bone suplexed him off the stage into the crowd off that platform. And what happened was earlier, before the cameras went on, I went and checked out the whole area, and they put them guardrails flush up against the platform. Well, we were like one of the last matches. What happened was the guardrail was pushed away from the platform, and I didn't know there was this drop, you know?
Yeah.
So I figured, hey, I'll just suplex him in the crowd, and then I'll end up back bridge, and I'll end up in the crowd, so the people will break my fall. I'll hit a chair, you know, it's better than hitting the guardrail or concrete.
Yeah.
I never looked. When I was out there wrestling, you know, I focused on him, and so I suplexed him, and I just kept going back. I'm like, what the fuck? All of a sudden, you know, I just hit this guardrail in my head, and everybody says they don't know how I'm alive or how I didn't crack my head open. I don't either. I really don't. The skull was on my side, but I was out. You know, I was up, swinging. I was out. I came through. He hit me once, one point in the match, and I kept telling him to hit me. Before that, from the time I hit the railing up to the end, like 3 minutes, I was out.
Really?
Big time. I was up, swinging. I couldn't tell you what happened. I knew where I was.
Yeah.
But I don't remember nothing from it.
Do you watch a tape and say to yourself, I don't remember?
Yeah. And I watched tape and I could see the way I was moving and the way I was throwing punches and taking punches. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
You know, I could tell. It just didn't look right.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like out of it. You know.
Yeah.
But at the time, you know, you're just like in a daze. You know, you don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
It's shitty.
How do you think that you would fare to UFC, and if you wound up leaving ECW, would you work for one of the Pancrase promotion or Rings or something?
I'd love to work for Pancrase. I've always wanted to work for them. Rings, yeah, I'd like to work for them, or you know, I love the style. You know, I love it. And I can do the style, no problem. You know, I mean, that's what I do. Do more than I do now. Believe me. But like Ultimate Fight, there's no money in it. You know, I mean, unless you win, you know, it's hard to win it, but there's really no money in it. I mean, why am I going to go in there and risk getting a knee blown out or a shoulder blown out or an elbow? Take time off, you know, working for ECW because I got hurt, you know, trying to win a tournament. They have some really good martial artists and fighters and tough guys and shit, but I'd soon work for a Pancrase or Rings or Kingdom before UFC. You know, I just don't see myself doing a UFC thing. I mean, it was great for a guy like a Severin or a Shamrock. Right. You know, at the time they didn't have really much to lose, I don't think. But I just don't see myself working for them. Pancrase, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. I have a lot of respect for a lot of. I watch a lot of the tapes, and you guys give me tapes, you know, of like, you know, Bassarootin and stuff like that, and you know, I mean, he's phenomenal. I'd love to wrestle him. I'd love to wrestle Shamrock or Frank Shamrock. I mean, Kid DeLuca that they trained at his dojo there. And Suzuki. Oh yeah. Well, you guys are great. You know, I mean, really good stuff. Really good stuff. You know.
Here's a weird question: if you weren't a wrestler, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
Probably something illegal. That's a good question. Wow, no one's ever asked me that. Well, when I was in college, you know, my major was a bitch, phys ed, and no, I wanted to be a gym teacher. I'd be a coach. I'd probably like my cousin is. I mean, I'd probably be coaching football or wrestling, you know, or actually, to be honest with you, I'd love to own my own dojo, a judo dojo. Yeah. You know, I don't have a sensei qualification to teach judo, but I can get it. You know, plus I'm black belt qualified. But yeah, I either own my own dojo, and I'd love to. Actually, I'm going to do it one day, maybe years from now. You know, I'd love to own my own dojo and teach judo to kids and adults, and you know, and or teach on a high school or collegiate level, wrestling or football. You know, coach. You know, I like that. You know, believe it or not, I'm patient. I'm patient like that. You know, it's hard for people to believe, but I am.
You have to be, I guess.
To train guys in this industry, it's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. But, you know, a lot of guys, like I told you earlier, off camera, a lot of guys don't last in this dojo, you know. Yeah. You know, if we get 20 guys join in a span of 3 months, maybe 3 or 4 last. Yeah. You know, we're fair, but we're tough as hell. Yeah. Tough.
Well, you know, on the subject of schools, from what you know of it, compare the House of Hardcore to the Power Plant down in Atlanta.
I've never been to the Power Plant. From what I've heard of it and from what I've seen some of the guys they train, I think they're doing a good job. I hate to admit it, but I really think they're doing a good job. Yeah. I mean, their guys know what they're doing in there. You know, it burns my ass that guys can get trained from a company. ECW has its own wrestling school. WCW has its own wrestling school. WWF has its own wrestling school. Yeah. But it burns me up that you can get trained and then just, boom, be in a company. Yeah. I mean, I tell my students, I torture them. You know, the guys that are wrestling, guys like Danny Doring or Roadkill, or especially my cousin. Right. I tell them constantly, you don't know how lucky you are. You don't know. Cousin Chris is on a fucking pay-per-view. Yeah. After a year, he was at, what was he on? Asbury Park.
Living Days.
Took me like just 8-9 years to get to Battle Legal. Yeah. You can ask Chris. I mean, I tortured him. He's like, oh, I know. And what was he going to say? All right, you know, sorry, you know. But I just want him to do good. You know, I mean, I'm pissed that they don't have to, but I'm glad in a way that they don't have to, you know, pay their dues the way I did or other guys that paid more than me. Yeah. You know, but WCW, I think they're doing a good job. Some of the guys they've trained there, you know, I mean, that are on TV for them are really good, you know, really good wrestlers. You know, they know how to wrestle. And you know, work and whatever and everything about them. They look good. You can see their training. I think they're doing a good job. I don't know about money. Like, I don't know how much they charge guys or whatever or their whole procedure. But, you know, I know how hard we are here. You know, we do a cardio conditioning class after practice, you know. We make them pay their dues in a 9-month or 1 year span here that they would in the industry. Yeah. You know, just mostly physical, you know. I'm sure Atlanta's school does the same thing, you know. I think they're doing good, though. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if you were referring to him earlier, but a guy that wrestled here for what seemed like such a minute amount of time went public with some things. Aaron O'Grady. Oh, yeah. He basically, you know, came out from those adult know and said you got him fired, and said that the deal that he had wasn't what was going on and going down. And
first of all, okay, I'll make it easy. Okay. Aaron O'Grady is a liar. Okay, and that's the gospel. Yeah. He's a liar. It's very simple the way this deal came down. Someone sent me a tape of Spike Dudley when he was in California. And I seen the footage of him. I'm like, this guy can go. I said, Paul, you got to check this kid out. He checked out the tape. I'm like, this guy can go. He's like, yeah, no, I love him. Boom, we brought him in. And the deal was, you know, he was young and Spike had to come train at the dojo here once a week with me. Go on the road with us, work, whatever, you know. And that was it. He had to train at the dojo. Spike did it after like 2 months. I was like, I really don't need you to train here, bro. You know what you're doing. You know, he was really good. Boom, rest is history. I heard about this Aaron O'Grady. You know, I seen a tape of him, and he came from the same dojo that Spike came from in whatever part of California. I asked Spike, do you know this kid? He goes, yeah. I go, he kind of reminds me of you. Yeah, a lot of people say that. You know, he's small, whatever. And he told me some good things about him. Told me a couple little bad things. I spoke to Aaron O'Grady on the phone. I spoke to Paul first, of course, and Paul said, offer him this type of deal, blah, 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 blah. The deal I offered Aaron O'Grady was, I said, I can't really get into too much money with you, because that you'll do with Paul, but you have to train here 1 day a week. He goes, oh, no problem, man. I'm going to have, you know, a Winnebago, and I'm going to live, can I park in front of your dojo and live? And I go, yeah, no problem. No big deal. You know, I said, and then you know, I can't guarantee you're going to be on our ring crew because you'll get more money, you know, but in the beginning, you know, we'll try and squeeze you on him whenever we can. It was okay. He comes here his first day, you know, we get in the ring. I stretched him. You know, that's just the way I am. I did the same thing to Spike. I did as soon as this dojo opened. When me and Perry were in here, from guys from Bubba Ray Dudley to when Devon Dudley started, you name them, they got stretched. Period. First day, right in the ring. That's the way we work. He took offense. You know, I mean, I could see he wasn't happy with it. I mean, come on, fight back. You know, I didn't beat him up.
Yeah.
I didn't punch him. I out-wrestled him on the mat, kept him on his back, and screamed at him to get off his back.
Right.
Made him tap out from every angle you can imagine, and that's it.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not that I outweighed him or I was bigger than him. It's just, it doesn't matter. That's the way we do things here.
Yeah.
If you can stretch me, stretch me. I'll tap. There's no shame in tapping while you're training. No big deal. It happens all the time.
Right.
So he came a couple more times, and then I could see he wasn't happy. And I didn't keep beating him up on the ring, you know.
Right.
And then I'd see him at the gym, and I trained at, there's a Gold's gym near here.
Thumbs off.
And I trained, thank you. And I trained there, and I told him, I said, listen, I can talk to the manager there. I know the guy. Hook you up with a good membership, you know, cheap, you know. It's a really good gym. Cool, thanks. I hook him up. I would see him in the gym every once in a while. We'd be on the road. And he didn't go on the road with me, but I'd say, okay, listen, man, we can squeeze you on ring crew this time. You know, you get a little more money, blah, blah, blah. Oh, thank you, thank you. And I find out from our ring crew chief that he was a little lazy in the ring crew department. You know, I mean, Bam Bam Bigelow had an independent show that he ran in New Jersey. And they were short. They were short on people helping out. And before the people got in the arena, the ring crew set up the ring. Aaron was there. It was his first show. It was before he was supposed to start for ECW that weekend, but that day, Bam Bam rented out ECW's ring crew and ring. They set the ring up. So Bam Bam says to the ring crew, listen, guys, can you help me out setting up chairs? We don't have nobody helping out. No problem. Ring crew setting up chairs. Bam Bam Bigelow setting up chairs. Yeah. Okay?
Sure.
Aaron O'Grady sat down and watched.
Wow.
That's heat.
Yeah.
I hear about this. No problem. I have one of my guys go to him and talk to him. He apologizes, but let me explain. He has an excuse, whatever. I don't know. A couple weeks go by. I put him on ring crew again. Aaron O'Grady was hungover, whatever. He couldn't help build the ring. Ring crew now wants to beat his ass. I tell him, no, leave him alone. We were in Pittsburgh. They wanted to leave him in Pittsburgh. Happened at the pay-per-view in Pittsburgh. That ring crew was there real early setting shit up. Shane Douglas, at the time, was #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Belt against Bam Bam Bigelow in his hometown of Pittsburgh. Shane Douglas is helping carry in soda, help the concession people. He was there real early. I wasn't there to see this, but I heard this. Aaron O'Grady slept in the bleachers while this was happening. That's 3 fucking strikes, brother. And I don't play fucking baseball. And, you know, that's 3 strikes. Yeah. So, ring crew again said, you didn't want to do nothing.
Yeah.
So I spoke to Paul. I said, listen, I'm taking this kid off ring crew. Oh, the other thing was, after a while now, he wasn't even coming to the dojo to train. He's sitting at Winnebago, never see him. I'd see him at Gold's gym. And it's a big gym, and I know everybody in the gym.
Yeah.
And he would peek out the fucking. I'd come in, and he'd wait till I leave and scoot out the door. So like kayfabing me, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, no problem. Really want to avoid me? I don't give a fuck, you know.
Yeah.
So
What are we doing in Winnebago?
you just see a little light on in there, you know, and he would just be chilling, I guess, watching TV or jacking off, whatever. I said, Paul, listen, I'm gonna let you know, I don't want this kid training at my dojo, and you know, he's not on ring crew no more, and that's the bottom line. I said, you know, it's up to you. You want, you know, he was a good wrestler in the ring. The kid was capable, you know, and I feel he's got tons of potential. I really do. You know, I mean, I wouldn't have brought him in here. I wouldn't have hired him if I didn't think so, right?
Yeah.
So on my name, you know. So Paul said, all right, no problem. You know, tell him if he wants to come to the shows, no problem. I'll you know, book him or whatever. Maybe not. Like, okay. So he came in here, sat in this other office, and told him, you know, you done fucked up too much. You can't, you know, that's it. You can't train in here no more. He wasn't training a lot anyway in here.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you keep a Winnebago outside. I don't give a fuck. I don't own the street.
Yeah.
They said, you're no longer doing ring crew. He goes, okay, so I'm fired. I go, no, I didn't say you're fired. I'm not firing you. If you want to go to the shows, that's Paul's prerogative if he wants to book you or not. You know, I'm just telling you, from my end, I don't want you dealing with my people. That's it. So he looks at me, gets up and walks out. No problem. Next thing I know, I hear he's on his way back to California. What the fuck? Yeah. Then he's burying me everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
This kid's an idiot. So, I mean, you know, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the truth of the matter. I mean, fire him. He had said, I called him on the phone, so I heard that they did some stupid little gimmick thing where a guy dressed like me, whatever. I think it's hilarious. I really do. I think it's funny. Get me over. I don't give a fuck. Act like me all you want. I don't give a shit what you do. Just mention my name. So,
now people out there know who Taz is.
Oh, yeah, it's great. So I called him. I said, what's the deal, man? You think you're funny or some shit? I said, you know, when you were here, you did everything just about kiss my ass, right? But, you know, now you're going to act like a badass because you're a couple thousand miles away.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, no, that's not the case. You live your gimmick. I go, what? Because you live your gimmick. I go, well, I really don't have a gimmick.
Yeah.
I had one, but I don't know more. I said, I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe because you only see me around the industry. Maybe that's why you think I live my gimmick. Yeah. No, you know, whatever. You know, I don't care. You know, so you're a big shot because you just stretch me. What are you talking about? First day I was there, you stretched me. Bro, that was like 6 months ago. Relax.
Yeah.
Do that to everybody. Lighten up, kid. I know you're that sensitive.
Yeah.
Ooh, excuse me. you know, hang me from a tree, right?
Yeah.
You know, like a little puss. So, I'm sorry. You know, you know. I said, listen, you know, don't fuck with me, okay? And that's it. Just don't. Trust me. I don't play this dumb shit. Right. Now you're getting into reality, and that's not good for you, okay?
Right.
Don't threaten me. I go, what? Don't threaten you. So, and then I don't know, somehow we got on the subject of money, you know, and, because he said to me that I got him fired. I was jealous of the push Paul was going to give him. So, I said, yeah, no, bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, what are you talking about? Why would I be jealous? You're an insignificant thing in this company right now. Why would I even care? I got you hired. Why would I be jealous?
Right.
I have a pretty good, rock solid job. You know, I think you were jealous of what Paul's going to do for me. I said, bro, let's be honest. You know, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know, I've made more money last year in this company than you're going to probably make in the next 6-7 years combined.
Right.
Oh, it's not about money. I go, fuck, it ain't. It's business, ain't it? I mean, I'm not in this, you know, for love, you know? So, I mean, that was basically the gist of it. And then I hear he's going online with fucking Aaron O'Grady and have fun, listen to talk about Taz and his misery with. It wasn't. I mean, it was a joke. You guys witnessed it. I mean, you know the way we do things here. I mean, it ain't just been talking shit. Yeah. I mean, you know, everybody in ECW wanted about to kill this kid now because, you know, he's talking about the cancer of the locker room. So, you know, I mean, no, I mean, I didn't have the kid fired at all. I just couldn't have him training at my dojo because I didn't like his work ethic. Right. And I didn't want that to be a cancer, all kidding aside, to spread to my younger students. Yeah. You know, that's bad. You could ask anybody else. I mean, whatever. But I don't wish. Let me just say, I don't wish the kid bad luck. I believe in karma, like I said earlier, and I don't believe it. I don't believe in that. And I think he's a hell of a credible wrestler, ain't no doubt about it and all that stuff. But he's not welcome in our company no more. That much I can tell you. He done burned a fucking bridge about the size of Texas. You know, so, you know, and that's not smart in this part. He's a young guy. You know, but whatever. I wish him luck. Good luck, Mike.
This past weekend, you injured yourself. I don't even know. Well, probably by the time people see this, they'll learn about it. What exactly is the injury? What happened?
You can't even see it on tape. It's the craziest thing. I went through a table, whatever, put someone through it, which I usually don't do. I don't wear any pads, you know. I don't wear any like elbow pads and knee pads, nothing. I wear low boots and just, you know, nothing real fancy. And I cut open my left shin. Ouch. There's nothing really to see, but underneath this pad is a cut. It was about that big. This is no exaggeration. Any of you guys in the back see it?
I wasn't
You heard about it, I'm sure, right? It was about this big on the front of my shin, and you could see my bone. Wow. No lie. I mean, the first one that was seeing it was Sabu, and he almost got nauseous. So, I mean, right there will tell you. It was pretty bad, you know. And wrestlers, when you're hurt, like a wrestler looks at another wrestler, they're not like a doctor, like, okay, it'll be better. They're like, holy fuck, you're fucked. You know, I mean, you know, they don't like soften it up. I couldn't believe it. It was about, like I said, that big. It didn't even bleed. There was no blood because all the blood vessels and shit just came out. It was just like a chunk of skin gone. And you can see my bone. And if you put your pinky in, like you go that deep, like this deep into my body, you know, it was sick. Yeah. And so they rushed me to the hospital with an ambulance and shit because, you know, it's dangerous. You can get really bad infection, staph infection. You open your body, it's a big time wound and shit. Yeah. And all I'm thinking is, fuck, pay-per-views like right around the block. And, you know, I know I damaged nerve, right? So go to the ambulance, go in the hospital and all that. In the ER there in Philly. And the guys were real cool, the doctors and shit. And one guy knew who I was, so it was pretty cool, you know. It's like, I just seen you on TV. What are you doing? You know, I'm like, yeah, help me. So he's like, that don't look good. I go, no, it's not supposed to be like that. I go, you think I'll have a scar? And he left, you know. So they ended up giving me like 6 stitches inside my leg. They stitched my nerve endings together. And they gave me, I think it was about 15 or 16 stitches on top. Big, like fishing line stitches. You know, the scar is huge. It's like that big, like an arc. It's real ugly looking. They told me I won't have any feeling, right, this part of my kneecap, right below my knee, like this whole area here. Wow. I'll completely lose all feeling. And if I rush back to the ring on it, I'll completely kill a nerve in my whole lower leg and into my kneecap. So I'll be out about 4 weeks. Yeah. It's bad, but I mean, it could have been worse. I could have blew out a knee. I mean, you know, I could have broke my tibia bone, which is your shin bone. Yeah. They told me if my calves and legs weren't so big and stuff, I would have really had a lot worse injury than this. Yeah. So it's just hard, you know. I'm on a crutch now, and I gotta take antibiotics and shit. You know, I mean, I gotta make sure I'm still not out of the woods on infection. Just because it's stitched, your stick can be infected. You know, because there's a lot of bacteria that floats in there without even helping it. You know. Yeah. It was a big time open wound. Really? So it was the worst I've ever seen. And I work for ECW. Yeah. I'm telling you. I've seen, you know, Sabu's arm hanging off. I've seen Cronus' hand hanging off. Yeah. And I mean, Dreamer seen it. He was like, oh. I'm like, oh God, Dreamer and Sabu. All I need is like, you know, chic and funk here. Yeah. They put it over now really fast. So it was bad.
I guess you know, my final question, unless you guys have anything else to add. Anyway, in the sheets that came out when you agreed to your deal, it was only a 1-year deal. I don't know if it is or isn't. Yeah. And right now, with wrestling being so hot, it's never been a better time than ever to be a free agent, probably, in this business.
Yeah, no doubt. I know that.
Where do you see yourself?
I'll be here. I see it. You know, a lot of guys say it, but I'll be here. You know, I mean, I have a 1-year deal because of the type of deal I have. It can only be structured for 1 deal, but I have no worries. Like, you know, neither did Paul, my wife, neither. You know, come this December, I'll work something out with Paul. We'll work something out. You know, I mean, this year he treated me good, you know, and the year before he did too, you know, real good. So I don't see myself going anywhere. I mean, I don't think anybody really wants me, you know. I really don't. It's not because I'm a bad boy or some shit, but like, you know, I've come public many times in a lot of different areas that I am not gonna be a puppet. I just can't. I just can't do it. You know, I don't like taking second place for anyone. You know, I'm a hard guy to do. I can be an asshole, man, big time. You know, so Paulie has a tough locker room. He's a tough bastard, and he, you know, we have some egos in our locker room, and I'm one of them. Ain't no doubt about it. But you have to. In order to make top dollar, in order to have the right push and all that, you need to stand up for yourself. I'm in my prime.
Right.
If I don't do it now and don't make the money now, what am I going to do it?
Right.
You know, this shit don't last forever.
Plus, wrestling's so hot right now.
Fuck yeah, wrestling's cool again. You know, I mean, I can't see myself part of an NWO or, you know what I mean, or DX. I mean, that shit works for them guys. I mean, it's cool, you know. I mean, I like it. It's good, you know, and they're doing good jobs with it. But it's just not me, you know. I mean, the closest thing like WWF, I would say, like Shamrock, and maybe Austin. You know, like he, you know, I mean, I see a lot of stuff they've done with Steve that we've done here.
It seemed like when he first did his gimmick, he took a lot of your old promos and basically, you know,
big time, big time.
It's like they're like watching Taz.
Yeah, I know. I remember one promo I cut, and he cut it like almost word for word. You know, I mean, it's cool. I mean, I know him, and he's a good guy, and he deserves it. I mean, he's doing great. I mean, he's great to watch. He's tons of charisma. He's a super guy, and he don't have a big head, and he could, you know, but he don't. You know, I mean, he's earned it. You know. You know, he's a family man. I mean, he's a good guy, you know, and I'm happy for him. But, yeah, he's taken a lot of stuff I've done, but that's pro wrestling. Everything's, you know, recycled, you know what I mean? Yeah. But, like, you know, I don't, you know, I mean, like, they'll do, WCW will do Benoit kind of, or Saturn, like, you know, kind of like my end, you know. But then again, you'll watch, like, what was that fucking, one of the Mexican fucking jabronis. Like, everything he does is like a Sabu thing. You know what I mean? Big time, you know, so. Or like, I mean, God, Public Enemy with the table. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, yeah, exactly, old news. So, I mean.
Scotty's like taking everything over there now.
Your promo.
What about Scotty? About Ray? Yeah, I know. I mean, it's fine. I mean, am I happy about it? No. Am I mad about it? Whatever. I mean, right now, we have so much more to worry about here. Not to sound like, oh, he cares, but he's acting like he don't. I'm not doing that. It's just like, what am I going to do? Yeah. Hey, Raven, stop saying what about Raven. Fuck, you know, I mean, what am I going to do? I can't do that. I look like an idiot. Yeah. You know, I mean, the real fans know. Look at the stop sign thing.
I mean, use my sign.
God, I mean, you know, it's.
Why don't you just have ECW?
I mean, really, you know, I mean, it's just Scotty has a weird sense of humor, you know, and I don't know if he's trying to do it to be funny or not. I really don't think it's funny, but like, I don't think much of it. Whatever, it is what it is, you know. Yeah. What am I going to do? You know, I mean, they're on a major scale TV-wise. We're not. WWF's on a major scale TV-wise. We're not. I mean, Steve Austin could cut a promo and say, you know, he don't give a shit about the people and this or his boss. He's going to do what he wants because Stone Cold says so. But a week before, I can come out and say, I don't care if you people boo me or cheer me. You know, I'm Taz. I'll do what I want because I'm Taz because I said so. Yeah, I've done these promos. You know, I mean, but I mean, no one. There's only a handful of people are going to know that I said this first. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I can't compete with the USA Network. You know? And that's fine because one day, before you know it, we'll be on that scale. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever be in the Monday Night Wars because that's not really what we market to, and I don't see any major network putting us on at 9 p.m. prime time because, you know, we're so cutting edge and Paulie's so fucking, you know, off the charts crazy. So, I mean, you know, but it's fine. It's cool. Just, you know, we'll get a national clearance before you know it. And, you know, national slot, syndicated slot, midnight or whatever, or 1 in the morning across the country. It'd be awesome. I mean, we're in the pay-per-view game full blown now. Yeah, big time. It's only our 4th pay-per-view and we're in it full blown. Yeah. It's just going to get better.
You guys have anything to add? No. Yeah, that's wow. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day.
No problem.
Thanks for inviting us to the dojo. And we usually end the shoot interviews with our guests telling people what they're going to do to people who bootleg this tape without giving them royalties or giving them any money towards it.
Yeah, I will fucking kill you. Don't be an asshole and like go and make money. Let Rob and RF Video make all the money. Yeah, don't be an asshole. I mean, You have a lot of bootleggers?
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh yeah, especially with our shoot interviews.
TitleMatchNetwork.com